a figure the president believed was excessive. The plan would have saved $100 million in annual operations for running a prison inside the U.S. instead of the legal black hole at Guantanamo Bay. How the president would have come up with the $600 million, however, was unclear, as Congress has repeatedly barred spending any money on the transfer of prisoners or closing the facility. President Obama insisted such restrictions are counterproductive. When he took office in 2009, President Obama vowed to close Guantanamo Bay by the end of the year, though up to this point he's made no serious efforts to do so. While he has blamed Congress, the opposition to the site's closure has mostly come in the past few years after Obama failed to deliver on the initial pledge. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports police on Wednesday afternoon engaged in a high-speed chase and gun battle with suspects believed to have been involved in an earlier attack on a social services facility in Southern California, according to officials and news reports. Hours after the shooting, authorities spotted 3 people riding inside a dark-colored SUV not far from the original crime scene and attempted to detain them. Following a high-speed chase, 2 suspects were shot, according to NBC News, who cited law enforcement officials. NBC Los Angeles reported 2 of the suspects were killed, but a 3rd fugitive appears to be at large in a residential neighborhood where police brought in a canine unit and went from house to house searching for the perpetrator. More than a dozen people were shot dead and several others were wounded after the gunman opened fire inside the facility, located about 60 miles east of the Los Angeles area around 11 a.m. local. San Bernardino Police Chief Jared Bergwan said at a news conference that as many as 3 gunmen entered the facility and began shooting people inside. More than a dozen people were killed, and police representatives said the injured toll was 17, 10 of whom they said were critically wounded. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a Texas state agency sued the U.S. State Department, a relief agency, and others in federal court on Wednesday, seeking to block the resettlement of Syrian refugees in the state just ahead of a plan to bring a new group of Syrians within a week. The International Rescue Committee is set to relocate 2 Syrian refugee families to Texas in the coming days, despite a threat from state officials that such a move would be reckless and met with a cut in funding for the agency. The Texas Health and Human Services Commission sued, asking the U.S. District Court in Dallas for an immediate restraining order and a hearing by December 9th for an injunction that would prevent resettlement. It is also asking that refugees not be resettled until then. The suit named U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, the U.S. State Department, and others as defendants. Texas is seeking an injunction to halt the resettlement because the state contends the defendants are violating their statutory duty to consult with the state in advance of placing refugees in Texas. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said the point of this lawsuit is not about specific refugees, it's about protecting Texans by ensuring that the federal government fulfills its obligation to properly vet the refugees and cooperate and consult with the state. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A majority of Americans are pointing to Friday's tragedy as a clear call for major reforms in everything, or literally anything at all that might prevent acts of horrifying, senseless violence. According to a recent ONN poll, the nation is united in saying that the key to preventing future tragedies is a drastic change in gun control, mental health care, school security, media coverage, violent entertainment, the fragility of the human condition, and really so many other things we probably haven't even thought of yet. Jesus. The Randolph Center for Public Health and Safety also released a statement saying, quote, "If you look at statistics regarding gun violence in the United States, you'll see the recent shooting is a clear cry for any thing at all to please be different. In Washington, lawmakers have reached a bipartisan agreement that the U.S. desperately needs tighter firearm restrictions or looser firearm restrictions, or honestly, whatever option just makes these things stop. Do that one.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Live Thursday edition of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Daryl.
And Johnson.
And on Free Talk Live, you can give us a call, talk about what is on your mind. But we do bring stuff to the table that we want to talk about. And apparently, someone somewhere has somehow managed to equate Elf on the Shelf to the police state.
Yes, there were some professors, I believe, in Canada from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives who are saying that, well, the elf on the shelf is preparing children to live in a future police state.
So do we have to review what the Elf on the Shelf is, or does this...
I think we do, because
Okay.
I really had no clue what it was, because I don't have tiny little humans that live with me.
I have one. Not terribly tiny, but I have a small human that lives with me. He's 7 years old.
So do you have one of these little demonic creatures? The elf on the shelf, not a tiny
I don't really
human.
know that much about it. Yeah, I have a tiny demonic human, yes.
So the elf on the shelf is both a book and a doll. The
Yep.
former
That much I
is
know.
a soft pixie scout elf that parents are instructed to hide around the house. The accompanying book, written in rhyme, tells a Christmas-themed story that explains how Santa keeps tabs on who is naughty and who is nice.
So, let's see. Any game where, stuff is hidden and you got to go find it, that's a fun game. That's a good game. And it doesn't end at...
No. You're not supposed to go find the elf. So the parents
why do you
move
hide it?
the elf.
Then you're hiding it?
They're not hiding it.
They just
They're
said hiding
moving it.
You just said hide.
Okay, hide. Well, from what I've seen of photos, it's just like they will move it around the house.
Okay.
And it's like in plain sight,
All right.
but it's moved around.
Okay.
And the elf keeps an eye on the children and supposedly reports back to Santa. And that is basically, how it's preparing children for the police state, is because you've got someone constantly watching you and reporting to a higher authority.
Well, I don't think that this has done anything more than put a finer point on the who's been naughty, who's been nice. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows who's been bad or good, and so be good for goodness sake. I mean, that whole thing, it really only describes the method that Santa Claus uses to see you when you're sleeping and know when you're awake, right? Is that right?
Sure.
Okay, because I just imagine when I was a kid, we saw these. These Johnson has an elf on the shelf that has its beheaded and says "snitches get stitches."
Which I held up to the cam.
Yes. When I was a kid, we had those. I know the shows are available for viewing still, but I don't know if they even have Christmas specials on TV anymore. I don't even know what TV looks like anymore. I don't have.
I know they
broadcast
still
television.
run the Charlie Brown Christmas special every now and then.
Well, there was one with sort of a stop motion animation with
Rudolph?
Rudolph and Santa. And
I love those. The
Abominable Snowman.
What
Yeah.
was it like?
Bumbles.
Bass and somebody that did
brother-
all of the stop motion
Yeah, I have no
claymation stuff.
I have no idea who did it, but I enjoyed them thoroughly. And in one of them, Santa takes like a big snowball, and he's able to, buff it up a little bit and see all the kids of the world through his magic snowball.
What I love about all those things is that they still talk like they're from the, the 50s.
Which one?
The Rudolph one and the Abominable Snowman.
Right, because
They have the
they are
Mid-Atlantic
showing
like that.
the ones that they're
like-
showing you the films that were done back in the 50s.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's why they sound like they're from the
Exactly.
50s.
But they've
It would be like watching.
they've applied Technicolor remastering to these things so that they look, better than
Right. It would be like, watching some old 1930s mobster movie that they did Technicolor to and being surprised, these mobsters sound like they're in the 30s.
This doesn't sound anything like when Johnny Depp played that mobster.
So the professors here are saying that because we live in a world grappling with corporate smartphone surveillance, behavior management apps in the classroom, and private communication interceptions by various governments, the elf on the shelf is just another development among many things that threaten the collection of privacy.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm you still got to go a ways to convince me on this whole elf on the shelf thing. I mean, this is the whole Santa Claus myth has always, it seems to me, at least my whole life, been about surveillance of children. And
right.
Parents will use it against the kids. It'll be like, if you aren't good, Santa won't come.
Right, but now it's been upped to, instead of just Santa is watching, it's not Santa is watching, it's Santa's elf is watching and reporting.
It's more specific.
It's more specific.
I see.
It's not just some, there's some guy that lives in the North Pole that he might find out. It's some guy in the North Pole, he will find out because here's the elf. And this elf sees everything you do.
Yeah, but I feel like the NSA might as well release like the Elf on the Shelf app, and you just install it on your phone, and
That's
then
good.
there are the Elf on the Shelf.
That's good. So, okay, so when I was a kid, it didn't take me too long to figure out that either Santa had a sliding scale as to what was acceptable and what was unacceptable as far as childhood behavior, or he wasn't watching. Right?
Right.
Like, obviously, clearly if mom and dad reported back to Santa, I hadn't gotten so sophisticated that I didn't believe that they had some kind of straight line back to Santa. But I knew that Santa wasn't watching at some point.
Mommy and Daddy taught me that it doesn't matter if Santa's watching. You just bribe him with cookies and milk.
That's right. Have you seen the hipster Santa? He's nice and thin. He wants a glass of coconut milk and a macaroon and a gluten-free macaroon.
So Laura Pinto, who is one of the co-authors of this study, she told the Washington Post, "I don't think the elf is a conspiracy, and I realize we're talking about a toy. It does sound humorous, but we argue that if a kid is okay with this bureaucratic elf spying on them in their home, it normalizes the idea of surveillance, and in the future, restrictions on our privacy might be more easily accepted."
Well,
it doesn't have to be like a conspiracy. Have you read any children's fairy tales in the original versions?
What are we talking about?
Like say Hansel and Gretel,
Something horrible happens to the children.
Horrible things happen to these, like these old
Brothers Grimm stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Where children being torn asunder.
Indeed, Aschenputtel, which is the story from which we get Cinderella. It almost literally means Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get the sisters to get their feet into the glass slipper, they have to. The mother says, "Cut your feet off," and so they, cleave their feet off, and in order to get in this slipper to fool the prince, and apparently that doesn't go particularly well, and I don't know.
Yeah, because they're missing half of their foot. So the article here continues. It says, until the introduction of Elf on the Shelf, Santa's mythological helpers had always been relegated to the toy workshop. Pinto said after the story and the toy were introduced, introduced by a one-time Atlanta reading teacher, the traditional narrative changed to include the hiding, the surveilling, and the back-and-forth travel. She said that this is evidenced by the millions of books and dolls sold, that the story has become a cultural phenomenon with parents littering their social media feeds with photos of the little elf in strange places.
So this whole talk of, these children's fairy tales being horrible reminded me of the fact that I wanted to check. I just remembered. I'm like, oh, yeah. When's that movie Krampus coming out?
Krampus? Yeah, Krampus is the Christmas demon.
Right, and there's a movie entitled Krampus that's coming out tomorrow.
Oh, awesome. That'll be good for you. You can go
So
see
it's
that.
good, yes.
You can report back on how Krampus the Christmas Demon movie was.
So, Mark, are you buying this now, or are you still...
I'm not. I don't think that this is an elevation of anything. I mean, it's fine that this lady is able to use this situation as a springboard to talk about the police state and the surveillance state that we're dealing with, but I don't think that anything's any different. I don't think you're a bad
It's
parent.
more personal now because there's an elf in your house, not just somebody that might see you.
Okay, do the kids look at the elf? At what age do you have to be to look at a felt and plastic elf and say, yes, that is one of Santa's little helpers, sent here to watch me all day long from his position, even though I'm not...
The compassion of libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the new Healing Our World is a great gift this Christmas for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the new Healing Our World is a great gift this Christmas for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Talking about Elf on the Shelf. And I want to know, do you think that Elf on the Shelf is creating a police state, or a surveillance state, I think is the terminology they should be using if they're not using it. A surveillance state, helping to bolster the surveillance state here in the United States?
Decentivize children from opposing it when they become older.
Not like children know anything about privacy anyway. I mean, you're wiping their butts, for God's sake. The number here is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, or you can call us on Skype. The username is lrn.fm. We are giving away another Tiger Light. This is the DAD unit that they have, the Defense Alert Device. It's a flashlight with pepper spray in it. And by the way, this pepper spray is designed to shoot really far, so that makes it that much more useful. It's also got a built-in Bluetooth GPS crowd alert technology. It's lightweight, water-resistant, and durable thanks to the polycarbonate housing, making it virtually indestructible. You can win one by simply going to freetalklive.com and signing up for our you can sign up for the newsletter, but you actually have to go to demo.freetalklive.com and fill out our demographic survey. It's demo.freetalklive.com. You have to give us your email address or you can't win. You can still fill it out anonymously if you wish. Demo.freetalklive.com. If you filled it out in the past, you do not need to fill it out now. You will already be entered. If you want to find out more about the DAD unit, you can go to tigerlight.net. Let's go to TJ calling in on Skype. TJ, you're on Free Talk Live. What's up?
Hey, Mark. Well, not a whole lot. In fact, I've heard about this wonderful thing called Elf on the Shelf, and I am getting one for my family this year because I figure I got an idea, and that basically is that Santa Claus and the government are the same thing. And I would like to point this out, right? Because here, think about it. He knows when you've been sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been naughty or nice. He's making a list, and with the government, they just check the list once, and with Santa Claus, they check the list twice. But he puts you into a list of naughty or nice, and then if you give him a portion of your income, or in this case, if you give him milk and cookies and obey all his rules, he'll give you a bunch of free stuff. So I think this is a wonderful way to teach children about the incentives that the government has. If you're good to the government will be really good to you.
Hold on. Are you saying that Santa Claus is Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, basically he promises you a bunch of free stuff if you're really good.
He was certainly made popular during the Progressive era, so there might be some argument against this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like I think.
Wait, is Santa Jewish?
That is a good question. I don't know.
Jewish people live at the North Pole, dum-dum?
I don't know, but Bernie Sanders is Jewish.
Yes, that's true.
So if Bernie Sanders is Santa Claus, then Santa Claus has to be Jewish.
It's called the rigged economy, and only the good kids get presents.
Well, I'm Jewish, and I'm not giving you crap. Bye, TJ.
All right, take care.
855-450-3733. Free Talk Live. The Elf on the Shelf thing, I don't know if I think that it's increasing the surveillance state, but it's an interesting topic.
So the more the author of this, or rather the co-author of this study, read about the Elf on the Shelf and the rules that accompany it, she began to feel that it was very similar to the panopticon that was created by Jeremy Bentham in the 18th century. It was his idea for a model prison where there was a central tower in a circular structure surrounded by cells that made it impossible for prisoners to know if they were being watched.
I mean, this is kind of ridiculous because it's like, they've been peddling this "you're being watched" thing since Christianity. Mm-hmm. So, you're being watched.
You think that the gods of prior to Christianity weren't watching you?
I'm sure that they were. But at least since then, it's been preached to children very heavily, this whole, God is watching you.
I'll leave it to the atheist to always twist God into it somehow.
We're talking about Santa Claus. I mean, it's kind of the same thing.
There are some similarities between God, Santa Claus, and the government. They can all sort of be wrapped in together. God is, we've been taught him.
Yeah, but we're talking specifically about this mythical thing that's this. You're constantly being watched. Where else do you hear that? Generally, you hear that with this elf on the shelf thing, and Santa Claus knows when you've been naughty or nice. You hear it with religion in general. I don't know that all the religions do this as equally. To me, my experience, I know about this in Christianity. I don't know if they do this, God is watching you thing in Islam. I would imagine so. I would imagine that there's some sort of aspect to it, at least a little bit.
I know that
in
Islam includes
Judaism.
a judgment day, and if God's not watching you all the time, then what the heck's he going to judge you for on Judgment Day, right?
Exactly.
Got to be watching you all the time.
Gotta know when you're doing naughty
keep
things to yourself.
Who's going to make sure that you're praying 5 times a day if he's not watching all the time? Or maybe he knows when you haven't checked in, right?
At least the Hindus, they've got like 275 gods, so they can divide that work up a little bit.
Right.
So instead of one person watching you all the time, they've got 275
And what is it? If you're
sort of
naughty
divvy up the work.
if you're naughty and you're Hindu, you get reincarnated as an ant or something, like just low.
Yeah,
on the food
you
chain.
level down.
How would the
Level
gods?
down.
How would the
That's
gods
right.
know if you've checked in with your 5 times a day prayer in the Hindu world? I mean, do they have to check with each other to make sure?
I don't think they have
They
5
use
prayers
Telegram.
a day.
They use Telegram to keep in touch.
it's more secure. It depends on whether they use it on their smartphones or whether they use it on their laptops. Let's go to Chris calling in from Indiana. Chris, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hello, gentlemen. I just came across something today very interesting on YouTube, and there's like hundreds of pictures of this. People in the 1920s actually making Stonehenge.
There's people in the 1920s making Stonehenge. All right.
Yeah.
Like the Stonehenge or a Stonehenge?
The Stonehenge, it shows cranes. You know how they have the 2 columns and then they have that brick going horizontally on the top? Everyone wonders, like, how the heck did they do that? Well, they use cranes.
Steaming.
So, hold on. Are you alleging that the famous Stonehenge that exists in England was built in the 1920s and did not exist before then?
The picture, just go look at the pictures. I don't know when exactly. They look like that they're dressed like they're from 1920.
This reminds me of the last episode of Free Talk Live I was on, because in the 1920s was also when the Stargate was found that would take people to the pyramids on the other planets. So this is,
I've seen documentaries to where they've had people test various theories of how they think Stonehenge was built. Are you sure that the pictures that you're seeing are not pictures of people trying to recreate the building of Stonehenge?
Look, just go look. I don't know. I'm just saying that.
I'm asking you what you're alleging the pictures are. Are they pictures of people building the original Stonehenge, or are they pictures of people recreating Stonehenge?
The people that are actually making the Stonehenge.
So Stonehenge, as far as you're alleging right now, did not exist until the 1920s.
I've got an interesting video for you to go watch. Go look up on YouTube, Stonehenge rebuilt by one man with his bare hands.
There's a whole bunch of people that are involved with this. There's pictures of them putting this top stone.
No, this guy doesn't need a crane. He figured out how ancient civilizations could do it with like pebbles and digging ditches.
Plus, there's these giant concentric circles that surround Stonehenge that they've just been finding recently. I don't know. I'm skeptical, but one can go look it up. Thanks for the call, Chris. 855-450-3733.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Email is easy, instant, and free, and that can be real embarrassing. Email lacks the eye contact and body language you get in face-to-face conversation, or the tone of voice and other nuance you hear in a telephone conversation. Email is just words, often few words. We're all smothering in spam, so we often reply in terse fashion that's easy to misunderstand. And email doesn't cost you a postage stamp, and it lacks the deliberation time it'd take to walk to the snail mail box. So it's easy to succumb to the "oh yeah" stimulus response trap. When in doubt, don't snap back at snippy messages you get. You may have mistaken the sender's intent. And unless you're sending AOL to AOL, there's no unsend. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom in the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live.
What's the difference between a stoplight and a school bus?
A stoplight is a light, and a school bus is a school bus.
Full of children.
Right. So
That's a good
The light
word.
doesn't have any
That's-
kids in it.
That's what you call a derelict, educated derelict.
yeah,
You gotta come out of Harvard.
I'm really not a derelict. I work for a
You
living.
are an educated derelict. Well, you
Barbara,
know what?
I agree with you.
Have fun, play your game.
No.
You're a
Because I'll tell you
fornicator,
what,
Mark.
When
Barbara.
you pass that next red light, I sure hope they get you good. And I
Barbara,
hope you don't kill anybody.
I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, she hung up on you, Mark.
But I agree with you, Barbara. I was telling you that I agree with you except for the stoplight thing.
Children, Mark, there's children around at every red light. You could possibly kill someone.
This, by the way, gentlemen.
If you would run a red light at 3 in the morning when there's no traffic as far as the eye can see, then you would just as soon run over a school bus and kill all the kids inside.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Live Thursday edition of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Daryl.
And Johnson.
You can give us a call. Tell us whether you think that Elf on the Shelf is propagating the surveillance state, or perhaps if Stonehenge is a fake.
When I was young, I had an Alf on my shelf.
What?
Jordan
Kitty.
I actually still have Alf Boolia baseball cards.
Boolia baseball? What is it? Boolia?
So in that show on Planet Melmac,
Yeah.
they played Boolia baseball, which is where they, instead of a ball, they used fish.
Okay.
It's just one of the things. And so one of the things that they put out from the Alf product line was a series of baseball cards that were stickers, and they had, Alf and other various Melmac aliens playing.
They're not aliens on Melmac.
Well, no. I don't know if they were playing on Earth.
Donald
or Melmac,
Trump would send them back.
Raises taxes to
Gordon
send them back.
Shumway, illegal immigrant.
He'd make them pay to go back.
You know who else was an illegal immigrant? Clark Kent.
Yes, that's true.
Clark Kent was a pseudonym for
You know,
Kal-El.
they actually cover that on the modern shows that are related to the Superman.
Yeah, he was still an undocumented immigrant.
Just a fake name. Assumed name.
Although technically, you know, he was legally adopted and grew up in Kansas or whatever.
Right, but he had no documents when he arrived from Krypton.
Right.
How do you suppose the Kents managed to pass it off? Hey, we got a baby.
Yeah.
Just came from nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They
But
actually, it was
conservatives-
covered in Smallville that they actually had some sort of contact with an adoption agency that helped them to forge papers.
I see.
Conservatives hate hearing that Superman is an illegal immigrant.
I think conservatives don't give a darn whether Superman is the story of Superman has to do with it.
Truth, justice, the American way, America. He's not illegal. He's America.
Do you believe that nonsense? That conservatives give a flying flip at a rolling donut?
Yes.
No, they don't. Stop
Yes,
wasting
they do.
conservatives' times.
Well, you know, Jeb Bush gives a flip about Cara Danvers.
Who's that?
What?
Supergirl.
What?
AKA I can't remember her name.
Whatever Supergirl's name is. From...
Yeah, Supergirl, the actress who plays Supergirl. Jeb kind of made some comments about how good she looks.
Okay, well, I'm sure. I mean, she didn't get her job. 'cause
She's an
ugly.
attractive woman.
Melissa Benoist, I think it is. Or
I don't
something
know.
like that. But,
Well, I can tell you that we were just talking about this Elf on the Shelf situation, and I'm much more interested in inflation and the cost of Christmas gifts this year.
Yes. So the 12 days of Christmas, if you were to buy them for one of your loved ones, and you know the 12 days of Christmas, on the 12th day of Christmas, it's something 12.
Yeah, 12 pipers piping, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know, something.
So if you were to buy all of them, you could
probably one of
save
the most
money
expensive
going
ones.
through Purse.
If you went to saveatpurse.com, you would be able to get discounts from as low as 5 and on up to 40%.
does Amazon carry Piper's Piping?
I don't know. Amazon carries just about everything. You can get your Christmas gifts there as long as you use Bitcoin and get huge discounts on anything that you purchase at Amazon. So all the stuff they have is Amazon, the great prices, the great service, everything you're used to. You use Bitcoin, you use Save It Purse. You'll wait just a little longer, a day or two, but you'll get all your stuff. We have at our house, saveatpurse.com. It's a huge savings.
So
I'm sure that there's enough activists around here that would be willing to claim to be lords for you and would leap.
I'm sure. Yeah.
The CPI, the Christmas Price Index, rose by 0.6% from 2014.
That's not impressive.
$34,130.99.
34,000?
$130.99 is how much you would spend without discounts
This
from
is
Purse.
ridiculous.
That's how much you would spend on all of the things for the 12 days of Christmas.
This is what I'm confused on, though.
Last year, it was $33,933.22.
Yeah, whatever. So it's gone up 0.6%.
Yes.
I'm surprised that of these numbers, and here's what I want to know. So are we talking about when you have 7 maids a milking, right?
Yes.
Is it 7 maids a milking for the last 7 to 12, the last 5 days? So are you paying for, in fact, 7 times 5, which
No.
is 35 maids a milking, or are you just getting 7 maids a milking?
You're getting 7.
Do you have to buy the cow?
I'm sorry. I think if you went to Amish country, you could get a lot of this stuff for pretty cheap.
Yeah, I don't think that this is outrageous.
So
is
the
what this,
the CPI, that's the Christmas Price Index, says that
by the way, 5 golden rings. No one said they were gold rings. They're just golden rings.
Right.
I mean, like, you know, if I'm handing this stuff out, it's going to be golden rings at $33,000.
Even still, a golden ring is not, like what's that going to cost you? Like $1,000 maybe?
Not even.
Like
a gold ring?
A good, like a nice gold ring.
14 karat you could get for about $200.
I'm thinking
I know my class ring, when I bought my class ring in 1997.
They rip high school kids off on those things.
Yeah.
Kids don't get class rings.
Yeah. It's like $600, $700.
Get a class ring that go to the jeweler and get a class ring that really says something about you. Put like Batman on one side and I don't know. Magnum condoms on the other. Got me.
There are 3 items that have caused the price to increase this year. That's
All right.
the partridge in the pear tree,
Okay.
2 turtle doves, and 10 lords a leaping.
Okay. Why would 10 Lords of Leaping go up?
telling you, around here you could get 10 Lords of Leaping for like, $50.
Yeah, the ladies dancing. I mean, it's always the ladies dancing that get less than the Lords of Leaping.
The company that has been tracking this, PNC Wealth Management, apparently has been doing it for 32 years.
Yeah, we've read this before.
And says that this is the smallest increase since they began tracking.
Okay.
Jim Dunnigan, the chief investment officer for PNC Asset Management Group, said while the economy continues to chug along on a sustainable path, low commodity prices are keeping consumer costs down, with only a few items in our index increasing in cost this year.
Apparently, the commodity prices aren't reflected in pear trees.
True loves should be thrilled that they can have their goose and better afford the gas to roast it.
Okay.
And the page has frozen on me, so I can't scroll down.
Wow, I just found an interesting fact about this stupid song. Apparently in 1780 is when this song first began, but it wasn't until 1909 that a English composer, Frederick Austin, first introduced the now familiar prolongation of the verse 5 golden rings. So before it didn't have that,
no,
5 golden rings. So before,
it's the best part.
Yeah, and before 1909 wasn't there.
Yeah, this is it should only be performed by the Muppets, frankly. So
5 golden rings.
A partridge can't possibly cost that much. It's just like a wild chicken, okay? In a pear tree, you can go to any nursery and get one of these things. How big does a pear tree have to be in order to... I get that this company kind of has cornered the market on producing this list, so they've got a number here, but...
Yeah, I wish they would have actually listed the price of what each item or group of items cost. I mean, they have a graphic, but it's so small that I can't read any of the text.
The geese laying is, clearly we're talking about grown geese here. If they're laying, we're not talking about goslings, but you can pick up goslings $2.50 a pop at the local ag store in springtime, so they don't cost much. But you got to feed them up to where they're
$250 or $2.50?
$2.50.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not much.
Okay. I really didn't know, and I was thinking it's probably $2.50, but I really don't know.
Oh, I can tell you, if you just go on Craigslist, you'll find free geese.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just horrible animals. I mean, some of God's most cantankerous beasts are geese.
They are vicious. When I was younger, I saw a goose attack a baby.
Well, yeah.
And then the mother... No, like a baby human.
I know.
And then the mother of the baby human picked the goose up by his neck, swung him around a few times, and then flung him into the lake. But this thing was vicious.
Yeah, usually geese will learn not to attack if you correct them sufficiently, but roosters? No, those things are dumb. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Have you become a slave to big tobacco? Have they taken away your money, your health, and even your freedom, forcing you to stand out in the cold this winter? There's an alternative. With the help of Jimmy the Juice Man and GiantVapes.com, for less than the cost of a carton of cigarettes, you can make the switch to electronic cigarettes and take back your freedom. At GiantVapes.com, you'll find a selection of high-quality, reasonably priced electronic cigarette hardware kits to get you started, and a selection of delicious, premium, flavored liquid refills from the award-winning Jimmy the Juice Man brand. These aren't the junk you find at your local convenience store or gas station. Use coupon code FTL10 for 10% off your first order of hardware and Jimmy the Juice Man brand liquid at GiantVapes.com, where you'll always get free guaranteed same-day shipping. Break free of the chains of sin taxes and big tobacco. Free same-day shipping and 10% off from GiantVapes.com with coupon code FTL10. That's GiantVapes.com with coupon code FTL10.
My name is Bill Bonner, and I have an important message. Right now, the highest levels of government are struggling against an inevitable crisis, but they're about to lose control. When this happens, it will rip our country apart in ways you never imagined. from where we shop to the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. A few years ago, I warned that the housing prices would collapse. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash, and they did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves. But this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all. I've posted a free video at disappearingwealth.com. Maybe you'll disagree with my conclusions, but first you need to watch this video and see the facts for yourself. You can watch the video for free right now by going to disappearingwealth.com. Again, that's disappearingwealth.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading on Thursday, gold is up $5 at $1,059 per ounce. Silver is 8 cents higher at $14.16 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $361 US. We still have plenty of 2015 U.S. Mint silver and gold Eagle coins available at these low prices. Give Robertson Roberts a call today at 800-874-9760 or shop online at rrbi.co.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Darryl and Johnson.
You can call in and discuss whatever you'd like here on this edition of Free Talk Live. We are your podium to talk to the world. 855-450-3733. We're discussing the effects of inflation on the 12 days of Christmas. And if nothing else, it is instructive that all these things keep going up every year. You know, it didn't used to be that way. It didn't have to, all your stuff doesn't have to go up in cost. But it does, and it's because the Federal Reserve creates money out of thin air, gives it away to people who aren't you. By the way, the antiwar.com is the leading news site with anti-war news and views. They need your voice. Anti-War has held a successful social media campaign with the hashtag #WhyIamAntiWar, and hundreds of people wrote in with answers to this incredibly important question. Now they aim to encourage even more creativity with their anti-war haiku contest. Antiwar.com is looking for the best pro-peace haikus. Bring your best pro-peace prose to counter the constant negative news and debates we're all tired of. It's time to send a message of peace to the world. Peace on earth isn't just a holiday card. Let's make it resonate far and wide. You make your point in a clear 5-7-5-syllable haiku and submit your entry for a chance to win. We've lined up some great prizes from some of the strongest supporters of peace in our community, including 0.5 bitcoins, 0.7 bitcoins, and 0.5 bitcoins for the top 3 winners. There's no limit to the number of poems you can submit. The contest runs now until midnight on December the 16th. Once your entry is submitted to the official email address, please tweet, Facebook, Instagram your haiku at antiwar.com with the hashtag antiwar haiku so your message of peace can be seen. There you go. So, the costs of the 12 days of Christmas just keep going up, Darryl.
Yes. The partridge in a pear tree went up 3.5% to $214.99. This is because apparently the partridge is in high demand this year, leading to a higher price. And
Because
pear
of all the people
trees,
buying partridges?
apparently, that's what they're saying here at PNC Bank, where they're keeping track of this. 2 turtle doves, that'll cost you $290, up 11.5%. 3 French hens are holding steady at $181.50.
$181 for hens? Please.
French hens, Mark. French hens.
Oh, there certainly are heritage breed chickens, but $60 a pop?
Apparently.
Okay.
4 calling birds. Here's one.
Wait a second. You switched my brain into haiku mode, so then I'm just sitting here thinking like Christmas can cost more than you desire it to. Commercialism.
Okay, I was on Craigslist, the Facebook NH Farm and Garden group, and they were giving cockerels away today. So
Is that a French hen?
No, it's not a French hen, but it certainly tastes like one. I can tell you that much.
Well, the song specifically requires 3 French hens.
Yeah, I gotcha. Let's go to Tom calling in from Nashua, New Hampshire. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, that shooting out there in San Bernardino, California. And the question, how are we ever going to stop these terrible things from happening? Well, they need to divert all of that anger and all that hatred away from innocent people. I mean, those folks should have gone out and killed a whole bunch of Border Patrol agents and then killed as many cops.
Why would they want to go after Border Patrol agents? Didn't the guy who did it was like a government employee?
But the Border Patrol deserves it, and innocent people don't.
Go ahead.
So that's what they should have done. But the bureaucrats don't want people to figure out the best way to put a stop to senseless gun violence, and that's to try to harness it to some constructive purpose.
Okay. Well, thanks for the call, John.
Really? The government doesn't try and harness violence to constructive purpose? What do you think they think that the military is?
I mean, that's pretty harnessed and pretty,
They tend to
violent.
spend a lot of time and effort into teaching those recruiters how to lie. So, it's, I think that they're investing plenty of effort into...
The guys that went after, that went and did that, the Farik fella who went out and did that shooting in San Bernardino.
Guy and lady.
Yeah, guy and lady and his wife. Total a-holes. I mean, everything about those that whole shooting, a-holes. And I'm not getting their side of the story, you know what? And I don't want it at this point. But the abortion clinic shooting the day before, still, total a-holes.
Yes.
I mean, just... if you're solving your problems by shooting people or threatening them with guns, you're not getting your point across anyway. You're just an a-hole.
Yes. And if you have $599.96, you can be an a-hole with 4 calling birds, 5 golden rings, and this is something we were discussing about how much golden rings. Apparently, the Christmas price index uses 5 gold rings.
Yeah, makes sense.
$750, holding steady.
That's not terrible.
For 5 rings?
Yeah, 5 gold rings, $750.
So $1,500 for every finger.
Well, that's
the whole set.
How many fingers do you have? Oh, $1,500 for both hands. Gotcha.
Yes.
6 geese a laying. What would you care to take a guess on this, since you seem to know how much farm animals cost?
Well, here's what I'm confused on. If I'm getting the Lords a leaping, I'm obviously not selling these people into slavery, right? Do I keep the geese that are laying? Am I buying geese or am I renting geese for a day?
My guess is that you were buying the geese.
Okay.
5 rented geese.
No, it's 6 geese a laying.
Okay. Well, a goose a laying.
One that is bought.
Call it $20 on the outside.
Wrong,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm sure.
Johnson, would you like to take a guess how much a geese a laying cost?
Oh, according to their stupid price
Yeah.
index, I'd say $130
Per geese or for 6?
per.
You would be closer.
Yeah.
They're calling these $60 geese. So 6 geese a laying would be $360.
Because their index is ridiculous because they want a high number so that people pay attention to
7 swans a swimming. That'll cost you $13,125.
Or just go down and grab a swan out of a lake.
$2,000 for a swan?
Apparently, somewhere close to that.
You kiss my feathered derriere.
8 maids of milking. Probably the cheapest item on the list at $58.
Okay, good. Good.
9 ladies dancing.
I'm sure there are several, services you can call to find yourself a maid of milking.
9 ladies dancing, $7,552.84.
For 9
no
ladies
change from last year.
How long did they dance for that kind of money?
Long enough.
I mean,
to
I've been to
charge you $7,552.84.
Where I've been to places where the cover charge is like $5 for that.
Just put down a bed of coals.
10 Lords of Leaping is up 3% from last year.
Yeah, they always get more than the ladies dancing, I'll tell you that.
$5,508.70,
Lords
which
of
is
the dance.
actually less than the 9 dancing ladies.
Nobody cares what they cost anyway. Come on, go on.
11 Pipers Piping will cost you $2,635.20.
I don't doubt that one. That sounds
12
legit.
Drummers Drumming. No change from last
There's no
year.
index for time here. Like, how long are these lords
Pipers?
playing for? The Pipers, are they playing for a full 24 hours?
No,
or
no.
is it 12 days?
This is just-
that would be a lot of money.
you get the Pipers on the 11th day.
Okay.
So my guess is you have them for 2
day.
days.
Okay.
This is long enough for Darryl's funeral, that's all. I mean, just, an hour.
12 drummers drumming, $2,854.80.
That's
no
about the same-
change
that's
from
about
last
the same
year.
as the-
I'm thinking if you want drummers drumming, you just need some weed and like some bongos. You got
You're
12
right.
drummers drumming. You're
And
good to go.
Mark,
Get a siesta key on Sunday evening, and you get drummers all over the place. I used to take my son out there to siesta key for their drum circle. He just loved it. He'd bring his drum out. He was like
just some
a
weed
1.5.
Just some weed and hacky sack. You got yourself some drummers drumming.
Excellent.
the true cost of the Christmas song, which is the cumulative of all gifts when you count each repetition, meaning that you would give your true love 364 gifts, would cost you $155,407.18.
My true love, can stick it. No way.
The core index, excluding swans, is $21,005.99.
What does a core index mean? Is it the swans that throw this thing all in tailspin?
The swans throw it up to $34,130.99.
Cantankerous beasts. I mean, they're awful. Get a little too close to a male swan. What are they called? Drakes?
Yes.
Ganders? Something like that. 855 450 free. That's 855.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people, where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
Are your kids spending too much time online? Are they gaming instead of doing homework? Are they on Facebook instead of sleeping? Turn their internet access on or off when you want for free at webcurfew.com. 100% web-based interface means nothing to download, install, or configure. Web Curfew is free and controls any device using your home network without slowing down your internet. Block all adult web content with the click of a button. Don't let the internet raise your kids. Take back control of how and when your home internet is used for free. Visit webcurfew.com.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, December 3rd, 2015. Silver is trading at $14.03 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,055 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $362. Antiwar.com reports, though officials continue to insist President Obama intends to close the detention center at Guantanamo Bay at some point, he has reportedly rejected the latest Pentagon proposal to do so as too expensive to justify. The plan would have cost $600 million, $350 million of which was meant to build a new prison on U.S. soil, a figure the president believed was excessive. The plan would have saved $100 million in annual operations for running a prison inside the U.S. instead of the legal black hole at Guantanamo Bay. How the president would have come up with the $600 million, however, was unclear, as Congress has repeatedly barred spending any money on the transfer of prisoners or closing the facility. President Obama insisted such restrictions are counterproductive. When he took office in 2009, President Obama vowed to close Guantanamo Bay by the end of the year, though up to this point he's made no serious efforts to do so. While he has blamed Congress, the opposition to the site's closure has mostly come in the past few years after Obama failed to deliver on the initial pledge. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports police on Wednesday afternoon engaged in a high-speed chase and gun battle with suspects believed to have been involved in an earlier attack on a social services facility in Southern California, according to officials and news reports. Hours after the shooting, authorities spotted 3 people riding inside a dark-colored SUV not far from the original crime scene and attempted to detain them. Following a high-speed chase, 2 suspects were shot, according to NBC News, who cited law enforcement officials. NBC Los Angeles reported 2 of the suspects were killed, but a 3rd fugitive appears to be at large in a residential neighborhood where police brought in a canine unit and went from house to house searching for the perpetrator. More than a dozen people were shot dead and several others were wounded after the gunman opened fire inside the facility, located about 60 miles east of the Los Angeles area around 11 a.m. local. San Bernardino Police Chief Jared Bergwan said at a news conference that as many as 3 gunmen entered the facility and began shooting people inside. More than a dozen people were killed, and police representatives said the injured toll was 17, 10 of whom they said were critically wounded. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a Texas state agency sued the U.S. State Department, a relief agency, and others in federal court on Wednesday, seeking to block the resettlement of Syrian refugees in the state just ahead of a plan to bring a new group of Syrians within a week. The International Rescue Committee is set to relocate 2 Syrian refugee families to Texas in the coming days, despite a threat from state officials that such a move would be reckless and met with a cut in funding for the agency. The Texas Health and Human Services Commission sued, asking the U.S. District Court in Dallas for an immediate restraining order and a hearing by December 9th for an injunction that would prevent resettlement. It is also asking that refugees not be resettled until then. The suit named U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, the U.S. State Department, and others as defendants. Texas is seeking an injunction to halt the resettlement because the state contends the defendants are violating their statutory duty to consult with the state in advance of placing refugees in Texas. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said the point of this lawsuit is not about specific refugees, it's about protecting Texans by ensuring that the federal government fulfills its obligation to properly vet the refugees and cooperate and consult with the state. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
When 16-year-old Jeffrey Patterson died in a car accident in February, he didn't just leave behind grieving friends and family, he also left a significant web presence. In a tribute to their son, Jeff's parents have continued to update their son's blogs and social media sites, including a blog called Shitbirds Everywhere.
Well, Jeff used his blog to make fun of stupid shitbirds. And now that we're doing this, it's like part of him is still alive.
Yeah, and then when I post a picture of some shitbird who has a stupid ankle tattoo or wears some retarded hat, I feel like somewhere he's smiling.
He hated retarded hats so much.
Whenever we get a comment calling Jeff a dumb fag for making fun of a handicapped person on a rascal scooter, well, it's like he's still here. Jeff would have gotten such a kick out of that fat shitbird. He really would have.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, kicking off the second hour. It's Mark with you.
Daryl.
And Johnson.
You can call in and talk about what's on your mind, but apparently there's a little kerfuffle on the internet, and Free Talk Live, we love to talk about internet blow-ups. I guess the New York Post posted about God versus gun control. The presidential candidates, Republican presidential candidates, they all tweet that our thoughts and prayers are with the shooting victims' families and these kind of things. And it's really difficult to know what to say in these tragic times. But, they posted something. And then
It's actually the New York Daily News.
It's the Daily News? I'm sorry.
The Daily News, not the New York Post. The New York Daily News cover said something like, God isn't going to fix this, or God won't fix this.
He doesn't seem to be terribly interested.
Yep. So this story goes on to say, following the heinous December 2nd attack that resulted in the deaths of 14 innocents in San Bernardino, California, the New York Daily News ran a front-page story mocking GOP presidential hopefuls who prayed to God rather than calling for more gun control. The New York Daily News.
Doesn't surprise me that a publication from New York is asking for more gun control.
Yeah.
One of the sites of some of the worst gun violence in America.
Sure, but it is surprising that they would mock religion so openly and brazenly like that, and be kind of a-holes about it.
Well, they're right though. I mean, if in the sense that God's not doing anything about it.
Right. So the headline was, God isn't fixing this.
So, or the suggestion would be that God expects us to do something about it, and then you can decide what that is that God wants us to do. But, people have been interpreting God's will for a long time.
Well, the story went on to mock Ted Cruz, Chris Christie, former Governor Jeb Bush, Ben Carson, and Donald Trump, all of whom invoked God's name on behalf of the victims and the families of the victims of the horrible attack. According to the New York Daily News, Cruz, Christie, Bush, Carson, and Trump erred in offering prayers rather than solutions on gun control.
Because more gun control will definitely fix a problem that was caused by gun control.
Right, exactly. They need to be mocked for that little
Well, I don't know if it was caused by gun control, but we can say
it wasn't prevented.
there's a strong correlation between shootings, mass shootings, gun violence in America, all these three things in America, we can and places where guns are outlawed or highly restricted, right?
Yes.
So, did you guys cover there was a recent story either on Reason or it was on the Libertarian Republic about...
I don't go to that latter site.
Yeah, I know. I understand why. But the story about liberals attacking any kind of criticism, even when the criticism is like scientifically accurate, like, for example, how less gun control in an area and more guns equals less crime.
Oh, I don't know that
it's a scientific fact.
I don't know that that's a scientific fact. I have looked at these because I want to be able to say that or not say that. I want to know what the facts are. And you can't necessarily. I mean, you can say, look at England, for instance, and you can say,
or just different areas within the United States.
Well, in England, for instance, there's a lot less gun violence because there's just no guns. It's a big giant island, and they've just outlawed them entirely. And
yet there's more violent crime per capita.
That's true, but that's that's
considerably more.
If you get, I mean, which would you rather be, cut, stabbed, or shot? And the answer is, I'd rather be cut than shot. Thanks.
Yes. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like a bullet. If you're not getting hit in your head, it's making a smaller hole.
You
get shot in your chest, you're probably not living through it.
Depends on what kind of gun it is, but yeah.
Well, okay, well, let me give you this fact. Soldiers until probably the Franco-Prussian War, but certainly World War I, died of dysentery, diseases, communicable diseases, and infections far more often than they died of bayonets and bullets.
Right.
It wasn't until you had, basically when people were up to the point that people were killed with pointy things, people tended to die of more just being around other people rather than bullets. So I'm going to say bullets more deadly than pointy things.
Yes.
Well, bullets nowadays, it depends. Like I said, it depends on the gun. The strong enough guns, you get hit with it. It doesn't just, it's not just a hole through you. It's the bullet, shreds apart and shreds you, or it's such a powerful.
No, the bullet doesn't shred apart. They made those illegal.
Well, yeah, okay. And that's not necessarily even true. I mean, bullets, small fragments can break off bullets if they hit bone and whatnot. So not intentionally shredding apart, but they still break apart. But also, just the shockwave from the impact of some of these guns is so powerful that that shockwave itself can disrupt organs badly.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I'd rather get shot by a 22 than I would by a 45 or certainly a 12-gauge slug.
Right.
I mean, that much is true. But if I've got to pick, and maybe it might be a toss-up between the 22 and the Danish polearm, but if I've got to pick between, say, a switchblade and a 22, I'm probably going to go for the switchblade. I'd rather fight the guy with the switchblade than the guy with the gun.
Right. So, okay, going on. Let's see. Did the New York Daily News mention that California is one of the most gun-controlled states in the union, or that they already have expanded background checks and require assault weapons to be registered with the state? No, but they sure mocked those who see the futility of expanding background checks and failed miserably in San Bernardino on December 2nd and proved impotent in Colorado as well, where gunmen carried out high-profile shootings on November 27th and October 31st. And the other thing that came out today is that both of the weapons used in the San Bernardino attacks were legally registered. So they were, actually, I think there were 3 weapons, but still, they were all legally acquired.
That's interesting until you start realizing that the gun control people just want more gun control.
Yeah, they're not rational in any way. Yeah.
What gun control people want is they want to control guns out of existence, ultimately. They're not looking for reasonable, common sense gun control, because once they get it, then 5 years later, they want more reasonable, common sense gun control.
They're chasing the fairy tale that laws are somehow going to rid human beings of deadly weapons.
Well, remember
which is
back
just
in
such nonsense. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's so far into the realm of fairy tale that anybody who says, like, I'm for gun control, like, you just have to look at them like, are you, like, completely mentally gone?
Back in like the late 80s, early 90s, it was, if we just pass the waiting period, then there will be no more gun violence. And then if we eliminate these certain types of weapons to where the ones that look more dangerous, that have the flash shield, whatever it's called, the ones that look dangerous, if we put those on the assault weapons list, there will be no more gun violence. If we take away these bullets,
expressions like "Are you completely mentally gone?" come out of me when I'm really trying hard to self-censor.
Sure. Okay, so obviously nobody would say that doing whatever is going to get rid of gun violence, but they'll say that it's going to lessen it. And I'd say that there has been a lessening in gun violence over time. But what we've seen is that there in fact is more gun freedom now in the United States than there was in the 80s. You can show that, and so I think what the real crux of it, when the thing that shows it for me is, well, you're never going to be able to get rid of the guns. This is a country where there are more guns than there are people. And, there's the old saying, God made man and Sam Colt made him equal. Today, I can defend myself against some, bad, difficult, very difficult guy to defeat, like a martial artist or something like that. Maybe there was a time in my youth when I could fight him, but I got a bad back now, and perhaps I'm not as good. And he comes up doing his hi-ya, bam, right? Like that. I can defend myself. In that world, I can defend myself. My wife can defend myself. Potentially, a young person who's, a woman who's 95 pounds can defend herself against Mike Tyson in a world where guns are legal. Where they're illegal, Mike Tyson, whether he has a knife or not, Mike Tyson can take out the guy with the knife. You cannot defend yourself in the world where knives are the only weapons you've got. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. What's your answer to gun control? Free Talk Live. Username LRN.FM on Skype. 855-450-FREE. Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Did you know that home break-ins increase more than 100% during the holidays? It takes just 10 seconds for an intruder to kick in your door, but police response to a home alarm system is more than 20 minutes, and intruders are in and out of your home in 5 minutes. Thieves know that you're not home and have presents inside just waiting to be taken. And if you are home, how safe will you feel with an intruder lurking inside with your family? That's why police across the country are recommending you use door armor. Proven to withstand the force of a battering ram, door armor keeps intruders out. It's easy to install and barely visible, and your door armor is guaranteed for life. Go to invasionstopper.com for a very special buy one, get one at half off deal. These savings are for a limited time and only available to GCN listeners. Protect your valuables and loved ones this holiday season. Go to invasionstopper.com now. That's invasionstopper.com.
This is a national health care alert from the Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You could qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Get free delivery, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers at no charge to you. So if you're on Medicare and have knee pain, don't wait. You may qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost. Friendly agents are standing by 24/7 to help you. We also have other pain-relieving braces, too, for your shoulder, ankle, or back. You may be eligible to get these items and more at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Our friendly representatives are standing by now to help you, so please call now. 800-301-2963, 800-301-2963, 800-301-2963, 800-301-2963.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Darryl. And Johnson.
You know, when you're online, you need to be protected. A good source of protection is ProXPN. If you want to be able to surf anonymously without oversight, you need a virtual private network that encrypts all of your online data before it gets to your internet service provider. And ProXPN offers OpenVPN. That's the best in network encryption. They have apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and Linux. Unlike other VPNs, ProXPN keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever, and now ProXPN has even more servers than ever before, giving you greater speed and security. They're also integrated. They've also integrated Nonkly.com to mask your emails. If you get a premium account, now obviously the free account doesn't come with Nonkly. They accept credit cards and even Bitcoin. And if you go to proxpn.com/amp and you pay with Bitcoin, you can get 2 years of ProXPN for only $49.95. It's a huge savings. Plus $5 of that goes back to the AMP program to help Free Talk Live spread the ideas of liberty. Use the internet the way it should be used. Go to proxpn.com/amp now, pay with Bitcoin, and help spread the ideas of liberty and take back your privacy. We're talking about, well, is it the New York Daily News, Johnson, that is apparently jeering at the Republican candidates for sending their hopes and prayers to shooting victims when gun control would fix it all?
Yeah, pretty much. It's New York Daily News. They are ridiculous.
Yeah, I think so, too. Let's go to Nick in Philly. Nick, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
So gun control, when they went door to door in Katrina to disarm peaceful people at their houses, what did they use?
They used guns.
They used guns.
The threat of guns, at the very least.
And these politicians surround themselves with people carrying guns.
And these laws that they make gun stores, operate. They put gun stores in the role of law enforcement, essentially. And people get rejected for just shopping with their wife. If their wife is asking questions about the gun, they might get rejected because it looks like it might be a straw sale. But anyway, how do they get these gun stores to operate as law enforcement?
Well, they passed laws and they threatened to take away their licenses
with
guns. I
Who's
see.
going to take away their license?
I see. Guns. Yeah.
Men
I mean,
who use them.
Gun control is clearly just an advocation that the government have the only guns.
Yes, was the point I was making.
Yeah, I think it's a clear one, and it bears bringing up every single time. When somebody is for gun control, they're not for gun control; they're for the government having the guns. And
really, they're for fascism. I mean, they're really like they may not understand it, but really, what they're asking for is like Nazi Germany in America. Is really like when you're asking for the government to be the only ones with the guns, what you're asking for is a fascist police state. Well, period. I mean, like, there's no other direction that's going to go.
Nick, thanks for the call. So let me ask you this. There are plenty of places in Europe where guns are basically outlawed, and things are not so bad there. They're not a fascist police state. They're not gassing the Jews. So do you still want to stick with this Nazi Germany analogy?
Okay, maybe I can back off of a little bit. But I mean, for example, in the UK, aren't the police also generally they don't carry firearms?
Generally, they don't.
Right. So, okay, I mean...
They do have, they're only a radio call away, though. They'll be there shortly. And this is one of the reasons.
Sure, I guess, yeah.
When a police officer pulls you over and flashes his blue lights aren't deadly. The car that they're in isn't deadly.
I beg to differ that the car is not deadly.
How many stories have we covered this year alone of police running people over?
Well, if they're flashing your blue lights, I'm talking about pulling you over. It's unlikely they're going to kill you in their car. Their car is no more deadly than yours.
If you don't stop, they will do the pit maneuver and try to flip your car.
Yep, that's true. And
so they will use their car as a weapon to possibly kill you.
You can learn the pit maneuver. Their car is no more deadly than yours. How's that? Is that fine?
Okay.
I mean... They're not the only thing that
it's
separates.
Pretty hard to perform the pit maneuver from behind,
in front.
From in front.
Yeah, you'd have to slam on your brakes, get behind them, and like wham. But yes, clearly this is. I do not advise
I wonder if there's
this.
like some sort of fancy driving school that teaches like a reverse pit maneuver where you can flip their car or spin their car by slamming on your brakes at a certain point in the vehicle. I wonder if that's even possible.
Well, I don't know. Probably YouTube has an answer to that. YouTube will tell you how to handle the pit maneuver. If that's what it's called.
I'm talking about performing a reverse pit maneuver from the front.
I got it. I got it.
I don't know if you can do that.
The number one search engine in the world, Google. The number two search engine, YouTube. And YouTube will show you how to do it. If you have a question, look it up. So
someone's still on the line? I thought I just heard a voice.
I did hear a weird voice myself.
He dropped and there was a bit of an echo of Mark.
Okay. One of those things. So the New York Daily News comparing God versus gun control. You got some more on that, Johnson?
Yeah, let me get back to it here. So Cruz tweeted, "Our prayers are with the victims, their families, and the first responders in San Bernardino who willingly go into harm's way to save others." Christie tweeted, "Praying for all those victimized by the shootings in San Bernardino, California Day." Bush tweeted, "Praying for the victims, their families, and the San Bernardino first responders in the wake of this tragic shooting." Carson tweeted, "My thoughts and prayers are with the shooting victims and their families in San Bernardino." And Trump tweeted, California shooting looks bad. Good luck to law enforcement and God bless. This is when our police are so appreciated." And the New York Daily News described it as another
good luck
round
to law enforcement. Nothing about the EMS workers or the firemen there from Trump.
Yeah. And the New York Daily News described it as another round of silence from GOP presidential candidates on the issue of gun control.
So there you go.
I mean, what are they going to say? Gun control caused this? Stop having gun-free zones?
It's unlikely the Syed Farik or whatever this fellow's name is going to commit this terrible atrocity on a room full of people who are armed, right?
Right. You never hear stories about somebody going on a shooting spree at a gun show. I have heard of like once or twice somebody going on like a specific mission at a shooting range and killing a disgruntled lover and then killing themselves right away.
Sounds like they wanted to die.
One instance did happen this year, right? There was a shooting at was it a naval or a military base?
There's been more than one of these things occur over time, so go ahead.
I just meant this year. Well, there's obviously heavily armed people at a military base.
They not so much.
The only people armed at the military base are the military police.
Okay.
The only other people that are armed, aside from the military police, are the people that are on a shooting range.
They wouldn't have rapid access to their weapons, like personal firearms?
It seems really weird, but for whatever reason, they trust police with guns, because the police unions right now are asking the NFL to allow off-duty police officers and retired police officers to carry their guns into games. And, okay, but they don't let soldiers do that, and they don't let the average person do that.
I want a soldier to call in about this if they can. How quickly could they access a firearm on a base?
There you go. Military personnel, former military personnel. If you're on a base, how long would it take you to get a gun? 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
As the cold and flu season approaches, Silver Lungs is ready to help you and your family through the toughest of the year by supporting your immune system and overall health. From our best-selling colloidal silver generating system to our entire line of silver-based skin gels, nasal sprays, soaps, and silver solutions. Silver solutions remain one of nature's most powerful and least expensive antibacterial agents. Now you can produce your own for pennies a day in the comfort of your home using the breakthrough technology of the Silver Lungs generator. Learn more today at www.silverlungs.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
When I found the Free State Project, I knew it was the key to achieving liberty in my lifetime. It's awesome to be surrounded by like-minded, freedom-loving activists who've moved here to New Hampshire. From politics to civil disobedience, we have it all. Where I came from, it felt that no matter what I did, liberty was dying. Perhaps you feel the same way? Call 888-377-2515 now to learn more about the Free State Project. That's 888-377-2515 or visit freestateproject.org. Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Daryl.
And Johnson.
855-450-3733. I am looking forward to the Liberty Forum. It's February the 18th through the 21st in Manchester, New Hampshire at the big, beautiful Radisson Hotel. The headliner at this point, Edward Snowden, will be speaking at the Liberty Forum.
Woo!
You don't get to say that very often in my line of work.
Is that in person or is that via video?
No, of course it's not in person.
I didn't think so.
He doesn't want to go to prison.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's by a video, but
It's going to be that like 7 link thing that he uses all the time.
It's great.
It's not going to be Fiend Phone?
No.
Okay.
Awesome that he'll be there. Just go get your tickets now. They're discounted.
I know I'm getting a tweet about that now.
They might not be discounted. I don't know.
Fiend Phone doesn't have video.
Check out the ticket situation at nhlibertyforum.com for the Liberty Forum. Come see us performing our show live. nhlibertyforum.com.
There's going to be some Google and tweet now about when will Fiend Phone be getting video.
They are good at that sort of stuff on Fiend Phone. There's no doubt about it.
So, Mark, you told us earlier you're going on vacation, and I think that your question that you asked us on break is probably worthy of asking the listeners.
You think so?
I want to hear listener feedback. Only serious calls about this.
Why?
but I want to know what the listener feedback is.
Okay. Well, I got to give the backstory on this. So I've got a deal with a farmer, and basically I run a summer camp for pigs. I have currently at my house something like 17 pigs. I had 20 until recently. 3 of them went to heaven, as pigs tend to do.
At one time, you had like 50.
I did have like 50, but I sold a bunch of babies and that sort of thing. And counting pigs by their head, it doesn't make nearly as much sense. I've had pigs on my property that weigh a pound and pigs on my property that weigh 550 pounds.
I don't think I've ever even had 50 pigs in Minecraft.
my son just puts a bunch of animals out there and then destroys them. It's terrible in Minecraft. And this is a game online for those who don't know. And the farmer's supposed to take, essentially I've got to deal with her. I take her pigs during the summer. She takes my pigs. We have co-ownership of some pigs, and we've sort of traded back and forth. And basically we share a herd together. I take it in the summer. She takes it in the winter. And, well, things didn't go the way that she would have hoped this year, and she has lost the farm that she was renting and had another spot that didn't turn out, and she's got no place for these pigs. And I've got to figure out what to do with 6 sows, or sows isn't the right term because some of them are gilts, which is the pig version of a heifer. So unbred females. I have 6 pigs, females, that are between the weights of, say, 300 and 550 pounds. And
bacon.
That is a possibility. Certainly every pig ultimately potentially is food, right? Like there's no other the other things that pigs when you're talking about a domestic farm type pig.
Some other pigs, they date frogs, right? I mean, that's the other.
Yeah,
that's a puppet.
No,
it's a marionette.
That's a Muppet.
That's just a name brand, buddy. It's just a well-designed puppet. So, yeah, these pigs are ultimately, you've got 3 types of pigs when it comes to domestic pigs. You've got the pigs that are meat, you've got the pigs that give birth to the pigs that are meat, and you've got the pigs that have sex with the pigs that give birth to the pigs that are meat. And so if you're eating sausage, you're eating boars. It's not like there's any domestic pig that doesn't get turned into meat ultimately.
And there are vegetarian listeners right now crying out in horror.
Well, I mean, it's true that
they should just be pets.
Well, some of vegetarians aren't even for pets either. But yes, there's pet pigs, but not 550-pound pet pigs. They're very few of those in America. But mine essentially are, I don't want to exterminate all of these pigs, especially since, I've seen them give birth.
Pig, although in winter.
I couldn't. To kill these pigs, I'd have to figure out what to do with all the meat. I'd have to pay for all of it. I'd have to sell a whole bunch of ground pork. And, these are real performers. These sows, the two of them that I've had that gave birth on the farm, 14 and 16 piglets.
All I'm thinking about is when you say they're real performances.
They have pig tricks.
Pig on a unicycle.
One of the pig tricks is that Pinky will take milk right from the bottle. She'll just
clever name.
Gluck. Yeah.
Well, and they all eat donuts.
Yeah, everybody gets a donut every day at my farm. So they're the closest thing to pets that a domestic pig can be. I just don't know what to do with them. And my question to you during the break was, if somebody gave you 6 pigs, and this is my question to the listeners, if somebody gives you right now 6 pigs between the weights of 300 and 550 pounds, females, and you can't keep them at your house, and you can't keep them at my house, and you can't kill them, what do you do?
So my first inquiry resulted in finding out that part of the biggest problem here is that the electric fence won't function during the winter because the snow will short it out, of course.
Right. If snow's touching the electric fence, you're going to have a real problem keeping the electric fence going.
Yeah, so the electric fence is not going to function during the winter. So these become basically free-roaming pigs.
But they don't go. They're very convinced.
Go too far, but they're
very convinced by the fence. I don't think that they're going to go through. I'm hoping desperately that they don't go through the fence that is basically not functional during the winter.
Right.
But I've never had a pig past December the 13th, 14th, up to this point. So, if it was a big snowy winter, it could be really bad.
So my joke was, giant collars for them, to which, the response was pigs have no necks.
Yeah.
And so then I was thinking that, they need stylish corsets that you just keep cinching them. And by the end of the winter, you have skinny pigs.
I think you could put a...
But you don't want skinny pigs.
No, you don't want skinny pigs. I think you could put if you wanted to tie a pig, you could probably put something around its midsection just behind its front legs.
Isn't that what they have the rings on the noses for?
That's for
animals.
The only reason you ring a nose, the rings that you put in the nose of pigs, you don't put a rope on. They're just basically like
they probably rip it
staples that go into the nose of the pig to prevent them from digging. And I have never ringed a pig's nose, nor have I used a gestation crate or a variety of the other things that people don't like to see pigs done with.
Yeah.
So, that's my question.
You ever tag their ears? You ever done that?
I do tag ears in order to be able to tell them apart.
Right.
It can be helpful at times. We also castrate. So, people are worried about pigs dying for meat. I can tell you that pigs make, a heck of a lot more fuss when they're getting their testicles removed than they do when, okay, let me tell you about this.
I, too, would make a fuss if I were getting my testicles removed.
I don't think I want to know, and I don't think our listeners necessarily want to know. Let's keep the listeners from having to hear this. But I do want to hear if people have advice for you about how to keep these pigs over the winter, and I want serious calls only.
Oh, you can joke if you want. 855-450-3
serious calls only.
3733. It's 855-450-FREE for your answers. But surprisingly, when it comes to piglet castration, you get them when they're young, and you just kind of hold them, and you do it with a razor blade. And I've done more than I care to talk about. And
then Mama Pig eats them, right?
Fry them up.
What are you talking about?
The little piggy testicles that you pull out, you throw them on the ground, and Mama Pig
I
eats
don't
them?
feed pork to pigs. I don't do that. The dog, however, will eat them. So
I know Mama Pig will eat the placenta.
Yes, and I'm sure that some pig would eat them if you threw them on the ground. I just don't do that.
So you don't fry them up and make pig fries for later?
People
like
do that. I have never done that. But, people do it, and they say that it's delicious. I don't know the answer to that. It's not something I've ever done.
There's a festival apparently in Montana every year called Testy Fest.
You would know that, wouldn't
so you? What you do is you castrate them real quick, and you put down a bowl of milky donuts. Now, donuts are often what I get to motivate pigs with.
Daryl's going to be on later. He's going to be like, I'm starting a Kickstarter. Get me and the Nada Bus to tour for Testy Fest.
And you once you do the pigs, you'd think if you just had your testicles cut off, you might lay there for a little while or something like that. Nope, these piglets get right up, they stop squealing, they go over to the milky donuts, and they enjoy themselves. It's like it never happened. You don't even stitch them. You spray a little bit of antibiotic stuff on them for a couple of days, and that's it. 855-450-3733 Free Talk Live. More than you want to know about pigs.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Ely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit-selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away 5,000 free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-961-8439. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-961-8439. 1-800-961-8439.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. The number is 855-450-3733. If you want to, I don't know, comment on Testy Fest or give me a good solution as to what I need to do with my pigs that I'm stuck with for the winter. The number is 855-450-3733 or lrn.fm on Skype. Daryl, how do you like your ugly sweater I got you from Tipsy Elves?
I actually wore it to a board meeting a couple days ago, and I recorded a promo on the local community access television station wearing the sweater.
With the reindeer humping sweater?
Yes.
Have anyone noticed that the reindeer are doing it on your sweater?
Everybody.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Everyone.
That's what I was sort of worried about. Yours is a little subtle.
See, I didn't even look. When you first gave me the sweater, I did not look at the sweater. Because you said, throw this on. Laura needs to get a picture of me and you in our sweaters.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, I'll put it on. And then I was going somewhere later that night. I didn't feel like taking the sweater off. And so then when I went into the bathroom to shave and comb my hair, I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh no, these reindeer are humping. So, I guess I'll throw on my jacket and nobody will ever know.
Why is it that you chose to get the extra large rather than the large? Now, you're the same size as me now. You've lost weight. You're actually you weigh less than I do now.
This is the second person now asking Darryl these questions.
Why is it that you chose to get an extra large rather than a large? Because I fit into a large just fine.
I prefer slightly baggy clothes anyway.
Okay. That's just a holdover from when you were heavy. Now you need to show people that you're light.
No, even when I was in high school, I always wore clothes that were about a size too big.
He listens to lots of rap.
There you go. Well, you can get your clothing too big, or you can get it just the right size at tipsyelves.com. They've got some great ugly sweaters there. I got one. Darryl got one. Mine has Jesus is the birthday boy on it. It's hilarious. And you can get 20% off of any ugly sweater at tipsyelves.com. It's tipsyelves.com. And when you go there and you check out, use coupon code FTL to get your 20% off. Tipsyelves.com, coupon code FTL on checkout to get your 20% off. They're great, high quality, quite warm sweaters. Tipsyelves.com, coupon code FTL. Neil in Arizona, you're on Free Talk Live.
Are you talking to me?
If you're Neil.
Yeah. Hey, you guys got to quit getting so wrapped up in your sweaters that you forget about your collars sitting on hold.
Good Lord, how long did you sit on hold, man?
Oh, long enough.
It's not like you've been there an hour.
Yeah, a lot of people are when they call to the show are on hold for like an hour, so you haven't been on hold very long.
Yeah.
And you're also calling Free Talk Live, so if you try calling another radio show, be prepared to be on hold for several hours.
It can happen.
Yeah.
If you call like Rush Limbaugh or something.
I'm listening to you guys on KTLX AM 1340 out of Needles, California.
Awesome.
You call in. You're on the air in 10 seconds.
Okay. Well, local stations have different, there's a different amount of wait time for local stations. Yep, I got you.
Yeah, well, you're on the air immediately, if not sooner.
Is that what you called about?
No, let him go on.
No, I can't even remember what the heck I called about. Because
how about Testy Fest?
But I do listen to you guys all the time. You're pretty cool.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for the call. 855-450-3733. Said that he wanted to talk about Testy Fest, but, he'd like to rather get on the air quickly.
Yeah, so, Johnson, I just want to make sure that I let you
here,
know.
The drinking sound effect would have been played.
Just want to make sure I let you know how I found out about Testy Fest.
Yes, let the listeners know.
There's a show that I watch on the WWE network. Yes, that's the wrestling network. And the show is called Culture Shock. And so the host of this show goes around to really weird, different things. And he went to Testy Fest and spent a couple days at Testy Fest. And it is probably what you're thinking, where they eat mountain oysters and they have a contest who can eat the most. And they have a contest to find Miss Testy Fest.
Are mountain oysters, are those goat testicles?
Yes.
Okay.
And this guy also went to BronyCon. Okay. And I would love to have him come to PorkFest. And I actually tweeted at him to try to get him to come to PorkFest. So hopefully we can make that happen.
That's the Porcupine Freedom Festival.
Yes.
It's held during the summer in Lancaster, New Hampshire.
Yes.
It's a large, more than 1,000 people, 1,500, 2,000
About 1,500.
people camping in the woods of New Hampshire, and they're pro-liberty folks. There's open carrying, lots of speeches, kids playing zombies versus humans, and just it's a grand old time.
And I know that Glenn Jacobs, the wrestler Kane, is an amplifier of Free Talk Live. I'm not sure how often he listens, but Kane, if you're listening, please get Corey Graves to the Porcupine Freedom Festival for an episode of Culture Shock.
There you go. Let's go to David calling in from Florida. David, you're on Free Talk Live. David, you're on Free Talk Live. David going once. David going twice. Must be something going wrong with the connection there on with the syndicate. David, can you hear me? Yep,
and he's gone.
And he's gone. Well, these things happen. What can I tell you? Johnson, there apparently are some people that are trying to name the generation that comes after the millennials. So this is kind of a difficult situation, right? Like Generation X, that's what I am. Yes. Basically, the next generation was then getting called Generation Y. It wasn't really fair that they were getting called a name because they were the generation after Generation X. So somebody came up with the millennial generation. And I guess that suggests that they sort of came of age around the turn of the century. Because
that they would be like teenagers, or that they would be experiencing their first memories sort of during that time period.
Or even, after the turn of the millennium, but just sort of that's their time slot, is the turn of the millennium. Because I remember back as far as 76 or 77, but I don't remember much beyond that. So the generation after that is getting called Generation Z, because at this point, no one has come up with a name for generation.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So apparently now, according to MTV and some of these people, some millennials as well, who are eschewing the name millennial, they don't like it, I guess, or are at the tail end of the millennials, have decided to go with this new name, the Founders.
The Founders.
So this story
What
says,
are they founding?
Yeah, that's kind of what I wonder. But
Minecraft games?
I guess. With civilization in flames and popular culture disrupted beyond recognition, the world is looking to a new generation to rebuild it. Enter the Founders. A new nationwide survey conducted by MTV. The children of the new millennium will rescue the world from the sins of the past, and befitting this worthy mission, they get maybe the most self-important name imaginable.
Oh,
yes, the spirit of MTV's new project is well-meaning and intended to capture the diversity of the country's youngster, but the report goes on a step further to paint a bleak picture of the present and saddles the next generation with the task of founding the new world. Now pressure, kids.
Yeah, thanks for making it look like we have, that this generation is somehow different than previous generations, and that somehow my generation's leaving it as a crap hole.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it would be necessarily this generation. I think a lot of younger kids, especially millennials, blame the boomers.
All right.
Because boomers are also saying that millennials are, shiftless.
Lazy and shiftless.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation for them. They're all living at the parents' house after, people who are boomers generation have destroyed the economy.
And I think that generally, Gen X and Gen Y, look at the millennials and go, yeah, you got screwed by the generations that came before us. I mean, I look at that and when they, I say, yeah, it's certainly not our generation that did this, we don't have any power.
I don't know
never
if there's any we anyway. If, for instance, all of the boomers that are in power now were suddenly swept out, and for the next 5 years it was Gen Xers that were in power, do you think that it would be any better? Because I don't. I don't think you'd have anything any better particularly.
I disagree.
Okay, well, I don't see that my generation is any less a believer in the state than
sure,
boomers are.
I definitely think that we'd get a different set of problems. I still think that there would be problems, but at least in one area, the Generation X at least has some kind of an understanding of technology. We'd stop having that disastrous sort of mess that goes on with all the technology and copyright issues and all that stuff. At least we'd advance that.
I don't know.
Think that, and I also think if you look at all the polls, you look at a lot of polls, things getting more libertarian, on marijuana and on a lot of other issues that
You're going to have to defend
With
that
age.
for me because I'm technology, big deal. 855-450-3733. What do you think about the Generation Z? Are they going to have to save the world? 855
The founders, man. The founders.
450 free. 855 450 free. Free Talk Live.
Odo.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom in the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading on Thursday, gold is up $5 at $1,059 per ounce. Silver is 8 cents higher at $14.16 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $361 US. We still have plenty of 2015 US Mint silver and gold Eagle coins available at these low prices. Give Robertson Roberts a call today at 800-874-9760 or shop online at rrbi.co.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, December 3rd, 2015. Silver is trading at $14.03 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,055 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $362. Antiwar.com reports, though officials continue to insist President Obama intends to close the detention center at Guantanamo Bay at some point, he has reportedly rejected the latest Pentagon proposal to do so as too expensive to justify. The plan would have cost $600 million, $350 million of which was meant to build a new prison on U.S. soil, a figure the president believed was excessive. The plan would have saved $100 million in annual operations for running a prison inside the U.S. instead of the legal black hole at Guantanamo Bay. How the president would have come up with the $600 million, however, was unclear, as Congress has repeatedly barred spending any money on the transfer of prisoners or closing the facility. President Obama insisted such restrictions are counterproductive. When he took office in 2009, President Obama vowed to close Guantanamo Bay by the end of the year, though up to this point he's made no serious efforts to do so. While he has blamed Congress, the opposition to the site's closure has mostly come in the past few years after Obama failed to deliver on the initial pledge. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports police on Wednesday afternoon engaged in a high-speed chase and gun battle with suspects believed to have been involved in an earlier attack on a social services facility in Southern California, according to officials and news reports. Hours after the shooting, authorities spotted 3 people riding inside a dark-colored SUV not far from the original crime scene and attempted to detain them. Following a high-speed chase, 2 suspects were shot, according to NBC News, who cited law enforcement officials. NBC Los Angeles reported 2 of the suspects were killed, but a 3rd fugitive appears to be at large in a residential neighborhood where police brought in a canine unit and went from house to house searching for the perpetrator. More than a dozen people were shot dead and several others were wounded after the gunman opened fire inside the facility, located about 60 miles east of the Los Angeles area, around 11 a.m. local. San Bernardino Police Chief Jared Bergwan said at a news conference that as many as 3 gunmen entered the facility and began shooting people inside. More than a dozen people were killed, and police representatives said the injured toll was 17, 10 of whom they said were critically wounded. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a Texas state agency sued the U.S. State Department, a relief agency, and others in federal court on Wednesday, seeking to block the resettlement of Syrian refugees in the state just ahead of a plan to bring a new group of Syrians within a week. The International Rescue Committee is set to relocate 2 Syrian refugee families to Texas in the coming days, despite a threat from state officials that such a move would be reckless and met with a cut in funding for the agency. The Texas Health and Human Services Commission sued, asking the U.S. District Court in Dallas for an immediate restraining order and a hearing by December 9th for an injunction that would prevent resettlement. It is also asking that refugees not be resettled until then. The suit named U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, the U.S. State Department, and others as defendants. Texas is seeking an injunction to halt the resettlement because the state contends the defendants are violating their statutory duty to consult with the state in advance of placing refugees in Texas. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said the point of this lawsuit is not about specific refugees, it's about protecting Texans by ensuring that the federal government fulfills its obligation to properly vet the refugees and cooperate and consult with the state. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It's The Onion Radio News. A man on TV urges the mass purchase of Listerine. This is Doyle Redland reporting. In what is believed to be the widest-reaching appeal ever made by an individual on behalf of an oral hygiene aid, an unidentified man urged millions of people across the U.S. to purchase Listerine brand antiseptic mouthwash today. Experts are baffled as to why a person with the power to reach millions would choose to present an oral hygiene-related message. FCC spokesperson Grant Yarborough.
This individual should be so obsessed with oral hygiene as to demand that several million bottles of Listerine be simultaneously purchased is baffling.
The man, described as a handsome, trustworthy-looking individual in his early 30s, emphatically stressed that Listerine should be purchased over other, inferior mouthwash brands. Doyle Redland for The Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is The Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can give us a call, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Darryl.
And Johnson.
Apparently, the Generation Z, as we've come to know them, or the late millennials, or whatever they are wanting to be called
the founders.
The founders generation, or what is it called? The founders generation? Is it?
That's, yeah. I'll just continue on, but do you have something to talk about here? Okay, let's.
Yeah. I want to get some calls. I just want to tease what's coming up here. Sure. Apparently, they want a pretty supercilious name for themselves. Let's go to Ralph calling in from New Jersey. Ralph, you're on Free Talk Live. Tell us what Obama's done.
Good. What about Obama? That's a very good question. You know, this man, Obama, is one with the black radicals under Islamic extremists. And, as far as the white apologists, I beg your pardon, and, the white guilty, you cannot plead bargain yourself if you are one before Judge Judy. Okay, they are hand wringing. I'm talking about the situation in California now. Okay.
Yes.
They are hand
Oh, I thought you were
wringing,
talking about the abortion clinic shooting.
Really, honestly, right? Really, honestly, why is Obama being reduced to a whisper? But
Why is Obama being what? I couldn't understand you. I couldn't understand. I'm sorry.
Why is Obama being reduced to talking in a whisper, reacting to that horrible tragedy in California?
Why is he reduced to a
He's
whisper?
quick to jump about the abortion situation, the Planned Parenthood situation. He is quick to jump on that one.
Okay.
You know why? Because it's flashing in the newspaper now that this woman is black.
Which woman?
Look it up, the New York Post online. You look it up, the New York Post online. Now, don't make things up. My eye is lying to me because
Isn't the solution from the liberal side that it doesn't matter which the shooting is let's grab all the guns? Isn't that what the solution is all the time?
To take away your gun.
You're right. So it doesn't matter whether it's a radical right shooter or radical Islamic shooter. What's that?
Really soon they're gonna go along the line of the black radical. Asking for a safe what is that? Safe. What do they call that? Safe zone or something like that. Basically, the idea of a safe zone.
Oh, I see. A gun-free zone? A gun-free zone?
No. Most
so
of
the college students are asking for a safe room.
A safe room. Okay.
What the college student asking for what, sir?
Safe room. A room that you can go in and be safe, and you don't have to see somebody holding a sign.
The gummy bears and building blocks.
Okay, but do you know what that whole idea is? Do you know what that whole idea? It's black only.
What?
If that is racist to you're telling me I'm obsessed about race? What about Obama and his race baiting and his paying the race card? What do you call that?
Well, I listen to you. Honestly, Ralph.
I'm obsessed about race.
Honestly, Ralph, I listen to you more than I listen to Obama. Thanks for the call. I mean, I almost never listen to what that guy says. I don't listen to politicians much at all. I'm tired of getting lied to. It doesn't matter to me what flavor of politician it is.
I'm still curious if Barack Obama ever feels white liberal guilt because he is half white.
I don't know. I know that the talking point on Republican radio, because I heard it on the way over here, because I listen to, unfortunately, just the local talk station, which has a lot of
what else is there to
radio
listen
shows.
to, right? Yeah.
Sports radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's sports radio. Yeah.
Or
but
music.
I could care
or music.
Couldn't
if
care
you
less about.
Shoot myself in the face because the music is horrible on radio nowadays. But the talking point is that Obama was all excited because originally when this San Bernardino shooting he was like, they thought that they're accusing him of thinking that this is going to be a white Christian shooter.
Okay.
And then you find out that it's a Muslim name, and and it's like, now he's going to be quiet about it. That's the talking point that's out on Republican radio right now.
Okay.
So, yep, just more of the race games. It's.
I don't see why he would. I mean, because I mean, if you want to grab guns,
the agenda is grabbing guns. Who cares? Right?
It doesn't.
But I guess here's the point that I could see on that. If this is what they're trying for. Grabbing guns when you're saying that the shooter is a white guy, right? It's an easier argument to sell, because if you're trying to sell grabbing guns when it's a terrorist, then you're being ridiculous.
Because a terrorist will get the guns anyway.
Right, because the terrorist will get the guns
the
anyway.
white guys
but
follow
also the white guy
rules.
needs to protect themselves. And if you're trying to take the guns from people who are just trying to protect themselves, then you're making a really terrible argument.
But if you make an argument that the white guy is the one that you have to take the guns from, he's probably among the, compared to a terrorist at least, very likely to have followed the rules to get the gun that he has, fill out the licensure.
That's not the way the argument is being made. And
sure, it's not.
saying,
the arguments are all stupid.
No, the arguments are all stupid, but the argument argument, in order to have any validity or weight whatsoever, needs to be like, well, there are all these crazy people. It's not just Muslims. There are white people that are crazy too, and it could be any one of us. So we need to have stronger background checks. We need to go door to door and take guns. I mean, I understand where the dumb logic is trying to come from in order to have like a somewhat politically sound message, to have these people not ripped from their offices immediately for being complete idiots.
After Timothy McVeigh loaded up a Ryder truck with explosives and fertilizer, no one suggested that people not be allowed to A, purchase fertilizer, or B, rent Ryder trucks.
But they did. They're tracking fertilizer purchases since then. Absolutely.
Yep. And a lot of fertilizers recipes have been changed to no longer include ammonium nitrate.
Yeah. So that did change, in fact. But what they found out there was you can blow up a building with a truck full of fertilizer.
Ammonium nitrate fuel oil. It's called ANFO.
Right. So, that's something that I can totally understand perhaps why they decided to undo that. Because otherwise you're going to have a lot of people going, you know what? All it takes is this. And that's what they're going to do. I'm just so sick of the, white versus black, Muslim versus Christian conversation. It's just so boring. This nation, most people don't particularly care about the religious arguments here. Yeah, there are extremists on both sides, and I'm not interested in it. I guess what I saw with the abortion clinic killing was it's really poorly timed for the people that want to say that there's there aren't any Christian terrorists, because I don't see how you can call that abortion clinic killing anything but terrorism. It's people trying to rule through terror, trying to prevent other people's behavior through terror.
And I allege that guy is no more Christian than any of the Muslim terrorists are actually Muslim.
Sure, he thinks he is, and I wouldn't judge.
Yeah, and you think you're a king, but you're not.
Oh, I am a king. But you don't judge.
He's a lord, a leaping.
I am the intergalactic ruler of all I survey. You don't judge Christians by the abortion shooter, and you shouldn't judge Muslims by this freak, whatever his name is, fella either. So that's just demagoguery. Generation Z, Johnson.
Sure. So this generation has decided to call themselves,
or at least some of them, a handful of them.
Sure, a handful of them.
The ones old enough to use the internet and vote.
Well, according to an MTV survey, essentially, the name the founders comes from the kids themselves, according to an MTV survey of more than 1,000 respondents born after the year 2000. America is still reckoning with millennials, loosely classified as those born from the mid-1980s to the late 90s, which is kind of wrong because that's Generation Y, because Generation X ends. I'm Generation X, and I was born in 1978, so.
Right. What I'm seeing is that most people agree everybody born after 2005 is part of this Generation Z /iGen / post-millennial whatever.
Johnson, I think that the Generation Y is the millennials. So a generation should be about 17 years or something is what they're calling it. That's what I believe.
Well, okay, believe all you want, but I know that's not. There's Generation Y is before the millennials.
No.
So there's a whole period of people who were born in the early 80s were 20 by the time the millennium came around. So no, that's inaccurate. They're supposed to be either like, children or in their like early teens. Music. It's generally based on when the music forms. 14.
Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. Have you become a slave to big tobacco? Have they taken away your money, your health, and even your freedom, forcing you to stand out in the cold this winter? There's an alternative. With the help of Jimmy the Juice Man and GiantVapes.com, for less than the cost of a carton of cigarettes, you can make the switch to electronic cigarettes and take back your freedom. At GiantVapes.com, you'll find a selection of high-quality, reasonably priced electronic cigarette hardware kits to get you started, and a selection of delicious, premium, flavored liquid refills from the award-winning Jimmy the Juice Man brand. These aren't the junk you find at your local gas station. Use the coupon code FTL10 for 10% off your first order of hardware and Jimmy the Juice Man brand liquid at GiantVapes.com, where you will always get free guaranteed same-day shipping. Break free of the chains of sin taxes and big tobacco. Free same-day shipping and 10% off from GiantVapes.com. Giant, VAPES.com with coupon code FTL10.
My name is Bill Bonner, and I have an important message. Right now, the highest levels of government are struggling against an inevitable crisis, but they're about to lose control. When this happens, it will rip our country apart in ways you never imagined, from where we shop to the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. A few years ago, I warned that the housing prices would collapse. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash, and they did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves. But this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all. I've posted a free video at disappearingwealth.com. Maybe you'll disagree with my conclusions, but first you need to watch this video and see the facts for yourself. You can watch the video for free right now by going to disappearingwealth.com. Again, that's disappearingwealth.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Darryl. And Johnson.
855-450-3733. We're talking about, well, the new generation for generations, the new name for Generation Z apparently is the Founders Generation. At least that's what they're trying to determine at this point. And
that's what they're trying to call themselves.
And I'm getting more and more distressed about this whole generation name thing. I think it's silly, but let's go on here.
This will just stir you up some more, the rest of this article.
But before we go on, I do want to mention you're going to do Christmas shopping this year. If you're going to be shopping with U.S. dollars, I want to tell you to do your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. Please. We get, when you shop through Amazon there and Walmart, we get a little percentage of it. You get the same prices, the same service you normally would, and Free Talk Live gets a little spiff for sending you. It's shop.freetalklive.com. This is our time of the year to really make some money there. Shop.freetalklive.com. Johnson?
Well, as the children of indulgent baby boomers, millennials are classified as dreamers who live to disrupt and challenge established norms. The founders, by contrast, are pragmatists who will navigate a tougher world defined by 9/11, the financial crisis, and gender fluidity.
Gender fluidity. That's pragmatic. Okay, go ahead.
The previous generations had to worry about getting into college and finding a job, but the next one is tasked with cleaning up their mess. Classifying a generation's personality and goals is tough no matter what era you're looking at, but it's particularly absurd when you're interviewing a bunch of kids who have just entered high school. Their youth is almost certainly a factor in their optimism. According to MTV's press release, among the names considered were the Bridge Generation, the Builder Generation, and the Regenerator Generation.
Who would want to be called
None of those are good names.
No, they're all terrible. One thing the founders have in common with other generations, they're reacting to those who came before. The terms baby boomer, Generation Xer, and millennial have all become pejoratives, though the MTV survey description of the latter is particularly rough. Millennial celebrity icon Miley Cyrus, who pushed back against Disney's model of fame.
But millennial isn't, in and of itself, the name isn't particularly, it's not a pejorative. If you think that founder can't be a pejorative, but you think that millennial can be, then you haven't figured this out yet.
Yeah.
And by the way, as best I can remember, Gen X was the band that Billy Idol had before Billy Idol went on his own. So if you consider Billy Idol edgy.
Well, the defining movie of the millennial generation is High School Musical, which disrupted the model of cliques, a phenomenon previously unseen on screen, apparently. What's more, millennials are defined by the video game The Sims, building houses within templates of society. The founders, meanwhile, live in a world of Minecraft, where regular laws of physics don't apply and all the building has to be done by hand, the implication being that they're going to make a different society. Cube by Pixelated Cube. Their pop culture heroes are YouTube stars and Vine comedians, ordinary folk finding fame in the democratic moray of the World Wide Web.
I've got to say that I don't understand YouTube stars really well, but I do see that they are a phenomenon. I don't entirely understand them. Let's go to Brian calling in from, by the way, Generation X is an English punk band formed in 1976 with Billy Idol as their lead. Let's go to Brian calling in from Knoxville. Brian, you're on Free Talk Live.
How you doing today?
All's well. What's on your mind?
Well, I saw your thing about the elf on the shelf training our children to live in a police state.
Yes.
It's a lot bigger than the elf on the shelf.
I would agree.
You look at how the education system has, quote unquote, failed our children. Okay? They don't teach our children to actually learn.
20% of graduates from government school are functionally illiterate.
Absolutely. My poor son is a senior. He was given a map of the states, and they were not labeled, and he was supposed to name the states. He didn't even get half right. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah, we had that in seventh grade, man. If you didn't get that, you were in trouble.
Yes. Now, the schools, they used to teach children how to learn. That's the whole purpose of what the education system was supposed to be about.
I don't know if they taught me that, but go ahead.
I know what you mean. We hated school. Now they teach you just to regurgitate things. You do what we say, and you get a passing grade.
Isn't that what naming the states is, though? I mean, isn't that just regurgitation? It's nice to be able to regurgitate that. I can still do it. I mean, I probably can name a state capital of any state you mention, but it's not a particular. It's not critical thinking skills. It's just memorization.
That's right. It's not critical thinking skills, and that is one thing our society has lost.
I don't know if we ever had it. Take a look at FDR.
Used to. Well, we don't want to go to that subject. FDR sold us out. But you look at all, I was talking to my wife the other day, seeing a rash of school lockdowns. What is all this about? Do we live in such a society that we're afraid of everything, that if a leaf blows across the yard of the school, we're going to call the cops and lock the school down? It is training our children to live like this.
I think that
and Ronald,
the biggest problem with schools is they collect too many people in one place, and shooters know that children are more valuable than adults to society and obviously their parents and this sort of thing. So they are drawn to these areas with this high concentration. You don't generally find small schools being targeted. It's these big ones.
Yes, and it's gun-free zones.
Yeah, it's always
because
that.
if they got guns, you're not going to attack a place, generally speaking, that has weapons.
Well, I certainly don't want to go to a place full of 11-year-olds with handguns.
Well, 11-year-olds with handguns, that's different. But if you go back in our history, like in the 70s and farther back, you had kids that brought guns to school for show and tell.
I think I got my first BB gun.
No.
I think I got my first BB gun at 9.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I got mine around that time. I'm 42.
I'm 44.
And I'm going to tell you what, so we lived around the same time. And I know my dad used to keep a gun on his gun rack in the truck up until probably the mid-'80s. And something changed. And we see that everybody is scared to death of an object that can't walk, can't talk, but oh my God, it's the gun's fault.
You know, when my dad kept his gun in the closet, and I don't remember ever having a conversation about, Mark, you don't touch that. But I never did. And I suspected, I was told when I was quite young, but it was just, it wasn't mine, and I should not be messing with it unless Dad's around, and then we can, go shoot at stuff together, and he can have his big gun. But I just never messed with it. And I think that, it's people are just scared that kids are always going to play with stuff. I don't know. Obviously, some will. Brian, thanks for the call. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Craig calling in from Manchester. Craig, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi. I just want to clear up this thing about generations because there's a couple of books, there's several books actually by William Strauss and Neil Howe. These guys have been studying generations for 30 years, and they're well known in this field.
Okay, so hold on to that just for a second here. I want to talk about generations coming up in the next segment. We're going to find out exactly what they are. Generation, the greatest generation?
Why do they need names?
I don't know. Maybe we could sell books. Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today. If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof. I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State. Or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealestate.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's post pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
His name is Osimo. Honda has unveiled its new human-like robot that the team says is designed to run a non-competitive half marathon and then smugly brag about it afterwards. Project leader Kenji Saito calls the robot very aggravating, adding, quote, "We knew how to create a robot that could run great distances at high speeds. The challenge was to build a bot that would be impressed with its own minor achievement. The robot even believes it could run a full marathon if it wanted to, but it's just doing this to stay in shape and have some fun.
If I wanted to, I probably could have played college football."
Aiming to make the android as realistically human as possible, scientists installed sensors to register derisive comments and eye rolls from annoyed coworkers as genuine interest in its self-centered blathering. The team noted that the irritating robot could be useful in medical fields as well. Already, Osimo has pestered scientists into sponsoring it to run a 5K in Cape Cod this summer. To date, it's raised over $700 for leukemia research.
This is the Onion News Network.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
It's Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Daryl.
And Johnson.
You know, the question of what to name generations, it always seems to be the media folks fighting over this. What are we going to call them? We got to make sure we get a good name for them.
Yeah.
My name's got to stick. That way I become sort of famous, and my name goes into a footnote in Wikipedia someplace. It's something that just keeps on going on. You know, I think that the terms 80s kid or 70s kid or something like that just makes more sense. Like when you were a teenager, what decade it was is more descriptive of your experience than Gen X, because Gen X runs from, like for me, I'm a Gen Xer. Gen X runs from 1965 to 1985, basically, 84.
But would you consider yourself an 80s kid?
I consider myself an 80s kid because although I was born in 71, you know, how conscious are you for the first 7 years?
What's really interesting is I kind of consider myself kind of 90s, but I also was 78, born in 78. That means I was, 12 in 1980.
Yeah.
But
no, you would have been 2 in 1980.
12 in 1990.
Or not 1980. 1990 is what I meant to say. As at the
you
end
remember the 80s, but you're not an 80s
is what
kid.
I was trying to say. Yeah.
You're a 90s kid.
We all remember the Berlin Wall falling down. We all remember the Tiananmen Square incident.
Yes, those things are true. Craig's going to clear it up for us, though. Craig, you're back on Free Talk Live.
Hi, no, I just want to clear up the times and the dates on these generations, because these guys that I'm referring to here have written several books on it. They go back 600 years. They've studied generations. And
they've got names for generations going back 600 years?
600 years.
I couldn't find anything online before 1901.
The Ochlenin generation.
We're the Gutenberg press generation. Is it Gutenberg? Is that right?
Yes.
You have to look up Strauss-Howe generational theory, and it's on Wikipedia.
These guys just wanted to get their names published. Go ahead.
Right. But anyway, the baby boom generation, they classify it 43 to 1960. Generation X, 1961 to 81. Millennial generation, 1982 to 2004. And then the generation after that, which hasn't really been named yet, they're calling the Homeland generation, is everybody that was born in 2005 to present. So
the Homeland?
I just wanted to clear that up. That's what they called it, but of course, they don't. Their names don't stick.
It either sticks or it doesn't stick. So why is it that these numbers are different than what I'm seeing online? They're telling me Generation X is from 61 to 81, and why am I seeing 64 to 84? This is one of the reasons I don't.
People are pulling numbers out of their butt, and pretty much everybody can agree on the meat of the substance. but it's that little thin layer of fat around the edges that people can't agree on.
Well, I think that's probably true, but what these guys have done is put together a theory which tried to identify generations with a period of time, and as a result, the numbers may be they're going to be as good as anybody else's number, because I don't think these numbers
I'd agree
really
with you.
mean anything.
It's as good as anybody else's number when it comes down to it, but I think people can argue that there's different sort of times and that sort of thing. What do you think about the 80s kid, 90s kid, aughts kid, that kind of thing? Do you think that's a more effective way of just describing who these people are as a group?
Yeah, probably, except that the generations go about 2 decades, so you'd have to try to clarify it somewhere in there.
But that's really the point, is that you could conceivably have a Gen Xer give birth to a Gen Xer. And what do they have in common?
Not much.
DNA.
Right, they have DNA in common. Thank you.
Anyway, Generation Y is the millennial generation. So
that's what I think too.
Just want to clarify that. Oh, one more thing before I go. Have you ever tried dialing 1-800-450-FREE?
I hear that you can talk to some
I
skilled
did
ladies.
that accidentally one time, and yeah, you definitely need to dial 855-450-3733.
Well, I just accidentally dialed it and was shocked. So.
Did they want to talk to you at $1.75 a minute?
They did.
Yeah, I bet they
Thanks for calling.
Right.
Yeah, I bet they do.
Bye-bye.
It just forwards to some lady at her house who's willing to talk dirty to you for a buck an hour, a buck a minute.
It's not going to be as nice when we're. Thanks for calling.
We all missed the Cavalier generation by about 350 years.
Cavalier generation.
So it's funny because the article
1618 to 1647.
The very next paragraph in the article here is actually pointing out one of the points that you're bringing up here, which is Time Magazine is getting involved, saying, already pointing out that generations don't usually get to name themselves. It's a task that has previously fallen to luminaries like Gertrude Stein, accredited for the Lost Generation, Tom Brokaw, accredited for the Greatest Generation.
Right, that's a way to sell a book. The Greatest Generation is a book.
Douglas Copeland, whose book Generation X, Tales for an Accelerated Culture, helped popularize the phrase, but some have already noted that the irony of MTV attempting to label a generation of kids who favor mobile devices and who probably never knew MTV was originally a music network. It's a ridiculously overstated attempt by MTV to define a generational boundary, noted Don Kaplan.
I don't see any reason why MTV is any more or less qualified to define a generation than anybody else.
And it comes off like a bid to advance the network's own self-promotional agenda.
Well, there are people now that don't know Time Magazine was ever a magazine. They just know it as a website, time.com.
Yeah.
And speaking of MTV, they point out in here that there's an MTV generation, and they exclude me from the MTV generation.
Right.
I was born in 1971. I clearly remember it like 11, 10, 12, somewhere in there. I want my MTV.
Yeah, it would be more you than me. I mean, even because I remember that too, but barely.
I would sit and consume music videos for hours.
I just felt lucky to grow up with Beavis and Butthead.
Right. Well, Beavis and Butthead made fun of music videos.
Right. Exactly.
They made fun of my generation.
Exactly.
August 1st, 1981.
And we could have gone we're not that far apart in age, right? I mean, we're like a high school class apart.
A couple of high school classes apart. I mean, you were probably leaving elementary school when I was exiting high school.
We're 7 years apart.
Yeah.
Me and you, Johnson, we're just a couple of months apart,
exactly.
but the two of us are 7 years apart from Mr. Edge.
Yep.
So here I have a solution for this. Instead of a bunch of people who want to get preserved down in history as being the one who created the name of the generation that comes next, we just call them 80s kids, 90s kids, aughts kids.
Like that.
Are we going to call them tens or teens?
I don't know. I think you have to be in your teenage years. You have to be in your teenage years, 13, 14, whatever, during that decade, and that's the foundation.
I think you can pick it yourself because there's some people that are going to be on the edge, and they can just decide for themselves if that's what they want to do.
I guess, but I really do think it's 13, 14, and I think it does have to do with music because when you're there's a study that says when you're 14 years old, that's when that's your generation for the music. Whatever music is out when you're 14, that's your music.
That's grunge for you, right?
Right,
yeah. And I think that stuff's dreck.
Yeah,
I mean, absolute.
Grunge was a little bit after me.
Understand them.
what's interesting is it's funny. I actually kind of went weird because I
I want
I like a lot of
Kajagoogoo
new metal
till Tuesday.
Like I like a lot of new metal is where sort of like where I
There's certainly
music.
distinctions
but I also
in that
listened to
sort
a lot
of thing.
electronic music when I was really young.
But do you? The thing is not whether you like it or not. It's just whether you imprint on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, I don't identify with the band. Like, there's a lot of people that they identify with the band. They're like, oh man, Bon Jovi, that's my stuff, or whatever. I don't identify with the band, so like I guess I'm sort of like a lone wolf that I don't identify as.
Before we
like
get too far
any
along, I do want to read this. This is my favorite paragraph. Is the last paragraph of this article because it makes a sci-fi reference. So it says, until now, the only associations I had with the founders were America's founding fathers and the villains of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, who were fascist shapeshifters from a distant corner of the galaxy. And they were really, really horrible fascists. And I think it could be like a
Who's that in
bad,
Star Trek?
In Star Trek Deep Space Nine, there were... do you remember the character Odo? In Deep Space Nine, he was like a shapeshifter. He had a
Never
really
watched
gravelly
it.
voice.
Oh,
He was
yeah,
this-
yeah.
He was the sheriff on the station quarter.
Yeah,
and he was
gotcha.
like, and that whole race of aliens were like deeply fascist and wanted to rule the galaxy like in a bad way. And they were called the Founders. And I hope that's not an analogy for this generation. But will the name stick? There's lots of other names: Generation Z, iGeneration. They're all pretty bland, and who knows?
iGen.
Yeah, exactly what's gonna stick.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Are your kids spending too much time online? Are they gaming instead of doing homework? Are they on Facebook instead of sleeping? Turn their internet access on or off when you want for free at webcurfew.com. 100% web-based interface means nothing to download, install, or configure. Web Curfew is free and controls any device using your home network without slowing down your internet. Block all adult web content with the click of a button. Don't let the internet raise your kids. Take back control of how and when your home internet is used for free. Visit webcurfew.com.
Concerned about harmful contaminants in your water? Look to ProPure, the most trusted name in gravity water filtration systems. ProPure, with the silver-infused Pro 1 G2.0 filter, removes over 200 contaminants, including VOCs, heavy metals, chloramines, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, fluorides, and radiologicals. We don't just say it, we back it up. The Pro 1 G2.0 filter is NSF 42 certified and independently tested to meet NSF 53 and P231 standards. Pro Pure Water, the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. Purchase with confidence in quality, performance, and customer service. Take advantage of our biggest holiday 25% off sale going on now. Visit your authorized Pro Pure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com. Or call 800-544-3533. 800-544-3533.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 85% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. If you're a regular reader of freekeene.com, you know there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. The number, in case you want to get in this final segment, is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Call-in line on Skype, or the username. Our username is lrn.fm. You ought to just send a friend request there so that you're ready anyway with Skype, because calling on Skype sounds so much better. Just send a friend request to username lrn.fm, and that way when you're ready to comment or call into Free Talk Live, bam, you're ready to go. And yeah, that means all of you in the chat room too. Just send that friend request, that user request right now at lrn.fm on Skype. So, Darryl, I guess there's something strange has happened. Apparently, you can't send newspapers across state borders that have marijuana ads in them.
Actually, the notice that came from the United States Postal Service did not specify that you can't send them across state borders. They're saying you can't send them through the mail regardless of whether or not it goes across a state border if it has a advertisement for cannabis. And
thanks, Obama.
This came specifically to an association of newspapers in Oregon and in Washington, both states
Does
where
that only apply to,
it's legal.
Does that only apply to newspapers, or does it apply to any advertising in general?
Specifically or broadly refers to any advertising, but the letter went to newspaper people.
Sounds like a mass civil disobedience thing for our listeners.
And
anybody can make a marijuana ad.
You should just send it in a regular envelope.
Yeah, to anyone.
The reasoning.
What about a postcards?
Yeah, I was just about to say postcards. Even
marijuana
just openly,
postcards.
Yeah, openly in an advertisement.
Inundate them.
The reasoning from the feds is that because cannabis is still on the federal Schedule 1 of controlled substances.
We have stupid laws put together by old people that wanted to control the market, old dead people that wanted to control the market and prevent people from using hemp to make paper. Just because we've got these old laws, you shouldn't be able to send stuff. But you're going to have to support our antiquated mail system.
Losing $6 billion a year.
So because cannabis still on the federal Schedule 1 of controlled substances, and there's some law that says that it's illegal to basically advertise anything that's illegal, the Postal Service is saying that you cannot use the Postal Service to mail a newspaper that contains an advertisement for cannabis. My question is, what are the other options? Because you can't use FedEx or UPS to send someone a single newspaper unless you put unless you put it in one of these overnight envelopes and then spend $15.
Yeah.
And who wants to do that for a 50-cent newspaper or a newspaper that you wind up giving out for free? And the letter was prompted because there was one of these free newspapers being published in both Oregon and in Washington that, well, they had an advertiser apparently that runs one of these legal cannabis businesses.
It's legal there, yeah.
Legal there. And so, therefore, the Fed stepped in and said, you can't do that.
Let me ask about this, though. High Times magazine, that got shipped all over the place for the longest time. I don't know if it's still published.
That was not an advertisement for a marijuana business.
It had ads in it for seeds and stuff like that.
I don't know.
Okay.
I can only relay the information that I have, and the information that I have is that the Post Office sent letters to the Oregon Newspaper Publishers Association. One of the executives from the Oregon Newspaper Association, Laura Hybe, says, or rather in the letter to the association, Laura Hybe says it's against the law. Unfortunately, the ONPA cannot do anything about this. And
yeah, well, I mean, how is the Newspaper Association going to force the U.S. mail to send this stuff? And why does the U.S. mail care? Like, either they are an independent organization, which is what they'll constantly tell you if you get the opportunity to, if they get the opportunity to, or they're not. Now, clearly they're not, because this is the law, we got to follow dumb laws, and they can't raise their rates when they want to, and there's all kinds of things they got to ask the government to do their business, and they get all kinds of benefits from the government. So,
right.
Nonsense that they're independent.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here and actually defend using the United States Postal Service.
Okay. I'm not. You can use it if you want.
And no, the reason that I'm going to defend them is because they are this quasi-governmental agency. They have a higher standard that they have to follow in order to open a package.
Yes.
If you send a package through UPS or FedEx, they can open it because, well, we smelled something funny or whatever. The U.S. Postal Service, they need probable cause to get a warrant to be able to open a package. So if you're using one of these websites on the Tor network that allows you to purchase or sell illegal substances, you want to ship those things through the U.S. Postal Service because of that extra protection that you have.
This is not legal advice.
It's not legal advice.
People who use the Tor network probably are using the U.S. Postal Service.
They generally are.
Because they have these higher levels of protection, and it's not like they don't know it already.
And you might want to follow in their footsteps if you're doing it.
I don't recommend any particular activity like that. Go ahead.
One of the U.S. Senators, Ron Wyden from Oregon, was contacted for more information. He said he's waiting for more information before deciding whether to continue to run marijuana ads. I don't know why a U.S. Senator is running ads unless he owns one of these newspapers. He said, we haven't set a long-term strategy. We can't know until we know more. So it sounds like right now they're in a wait-and-see sort of pattern, but this is just something very interesting to me, to where basically you have something akin to censorship that is not being called censorship.
Well, I guess if the government censors all kinds of things, I suppose this is just a reasonable expectation. This is going to have to go to court at some point.
Of course.
The question I would have is how could the United States federal government make alcohol illegal by having to pass an amendment? It took an amendment to make alcohol illegal.
Yes.
But when it came to making marijuana illegal, they just passed some dumb law.
Yes.
I mean, shouldn't they have reached the level of amendment?
One would think. And that initial some dumb law, the Marijuana Tax Act, was ruled unconstitutional 30 years later by the U.S. Supreme Court. And then it was a couple years after that where Nixon said, okay, we need the controlled substances, and states, you guys have to all pass this thing. Otherwise, you don't get federal monies.
It's always that. That's the same way with seatbelts, too. And,
New Hampshire has thus far resisted.
Yeah, it's only like $3 million or whatever it is in funding, but somebody puts in for it every 2 years. Some, usually Democrat, is like, we just got to make sure that adults are wearing seatbelts in New Hampshire, and then we get $3 million. It's like winning the lottery.
But the funny thing is,
it's
New Hampshire,
tyranny lottery.
Based on reports that I've seen, New Hampshire has a higher rate of seatbelt usage than any other state in the country.
Inaccurate. It is higher than Massachusetts, which is one state beneath us, but we are the 49th in the numbers that I saw, unless New Hampshire jumped and on these polls that I saw.
Oh, you know what? I'm confusing the insurance with seatbelts because New Hampshire also
has no
does not require insurance.
No minimal requirement for auto insurance in New Hampshire, but most people have it. And that is, quite odd. But most of the requirements for auto insurance in other states are pretty minimal too. In Florida, the crap insurance you needed was, there wasn't much to it. Even I, as a young person, could afford that. My parents required me to have a higher level of insurance to drive their cars. So, there you go. New Hampshire has its advantages and disadvantages as far as it goes, but as a location for the Free State Project, I think we've got hope, and other places, they're just devolving and deteriorating as time goes by. We've got 20% of the New Hampshire House are nominal libertarians, and that means that the conservative bills and the liberal bills that go through the New Hampshire House have to make it past the libertarians in order to get through. And that is what gives me the largest hope for the Free State Project. So there you go. Drive safe out there. It's been Mark with you.
Darryl.
And Johnson.
Check us out in the meantime at freetalklive.com. Please do your Christmas shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. There you get the same prices, the same service you normally get on Amazon. We get a little bonus. If you've got Bitcoin, go through save@purse.com and save 20-30% on your Christmas gifts. Save@purse.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
The live edition of Flaming Freedom is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, December 3rd, 2015. Silver is trading at $14.03 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,055 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $362. Antiwar.com reports, though officials continue to insist President Obama intends to close the detention center at Guantanamo Bay at some point, he has reportedly rejected the latest Pentagon proposal to do so as too expensive to justify. The plan would have cost $600 million, $350 million of which was meant to build a new prison on U.S. soil, a figure the president believed was excessive. The plan would have saved